Hello, everybody. Hello. I hope the sound is on, and I hope you guys are here. Hey, Sean is here. Sean. What's up, Sean? Sean. Let's check the sounds and the sounds. Let me check the sounds. Everything is muted here. So there we go. Unmuted. The system is now unmuted. Good morning, Sean. The system is officially unmuted. You are now given your voice. Hello. Good morning. Hello, everybody. How's it going? All right. Great. How are you guys? Good, I hope. Wave of confusion grows over DeSantis' new law giving himself power to run for president. Why is there confusion about that? He wants to stay governor and run for president. He passed a law that allowed it. I don't see the confusion.
Sean the Orca guy. I'm home and very sick, but I'm still trending.
Good. I'm sorry you're sick. Why are you sick? What do you mean you're very sick? So Ron DeSantis is gearing up to be sued by Donald Trump for
Kevin Vaught.
for this.
Hashtag NLRC. Cheers nay hashtag Ox Project. Good morning, bro.
He needs to announce before a certain time or Donald Trump might have a case against him. Very interesting. All right, next thing. Big crypto exchange goes bankrupt. Who's that?
Sean the Orca guy. Very intense constant diarrhea. Sorry for the TMI.
Oh my God, no, dude. I'm sorry that you're going through that. First Republic Bank. Bittrex. Chapter 11. Bittrex just filed. Okay. Bittrex. Don't use Bittrex, guys. They just filed for Chapter 11, just so you know. We have mentioned them before. They just claimed bankruptcy. There you go. Next story. Megyn Kelly. People should hold their tongues about guns after Texas mass shooting. That should be interesting. We should
Sean the
sue
Orca
Megyn
guy.
Kelly.
I'm lactose intolerant and something clobbered me.
Ah, okay, right on. Kevin Vaught, not a bot. Kevin Vaught, what's up, buddy? She wants advocates of gun reform to zip it. She's sick of the debates. She talks about other solutions in all caps, besides taking our Second Amendment rights away from us. She said even if you banned AR-15s, people would just use their semi-automatic pistols to kill a bunch of people. That's what I say. She makes a really good point. Put that one in the archive. Well said, Megyn Kelly. Well said. Thank you for protecting my Second Amendment right against a corrupt government. Corrupt police force. Is the LGB community divorcing themselves from the TQ community? Independent news. I'm not going to even read that shit. That's just stupid. So they passed that bill in Texas to raise the gun purchasing age. Sea levels continue to rise around the globe, including in Florida. Sea levels have risen 6 to 8 inches over the past 100 years. It's not, it doesn't seem like a lot, right? 6 to 8 inches. Well, we'll see what happens with sea level rise. My advice to anybody is don't live near the coast, you know? Bitcoin's BRC20 explosion sends users scrambling for options, including Lightning. BRC20 explosion. I don't even know what that is. Bitcoin. Oh. Fungible tokens. Oh, I don't get it. Whatever. I don't even want to read about this. This is so dumb. Late last year, Ordinals introduced inscriptions or arbitrary content like text or images that can be added to sequentially numbered Satoshis to create unique non-fungible tokens or NFTs. Ordinals is now also being used to mint BRC20s, which for all intents and purposes are fungible tokens. Fees to send coins are soaring, transactions are waiting longer in the queue, and some users and exchanges are already starting to consider alternatives. Lightning. People are complaining about the fees. I don't know who sets that. I don't know how that works. But that's fucked up. Next story. Pepe, an article about Pepe. Pepe. There's an article about Pepe. Huh.
Joel Froggy. Notified.
Good, Joel. Good. Okay. All right. Well, that was all the the current news stories on MSN. Let me look on CNN now. See if there's anything interesting over here. Brett Baer's reputation takes hit after texts reveal what he said in wake of 2020 election. Former host press them to slow walk Nevada. Damn! Dude! This article's crazy, man, about Brett Baer. I thought he was actually one of the good ones over there. Nope. They got him. They got him in text messages with Tucker Carlson saying, let's slow walk the news of Biden winning in Nevada. We don't want Fox audiences to know that Trump has lost the election. Brett Baer. Just as bad as all the other ones. Wow. What a piece of human garbage. Let's slow walk that information. Wow, man. So if you watch Brett Baer on Fox News, understand he has throttled information to you for his own personal narrative. Just understand that. And that's disgusting. Disgusting. That's the only word I can describe. It's up on my Twitter now if you want to read the article. Okay, great. Next story. Wow. Jamie Foxx still isn't telling anybody what happened, what he was being diagnosed with. I wonder if he's got AIDS or something, something he's embarrassed about. Oscars has new diversity rules. CNN team, a missile lands 700 yards away from them. Wow. Good morning, everybody. Just going over the news stories right now. If there's anything you want me to discuss, go ahead and mention it in the chats, and I will look at it. We could talk about it.
A Florida man has been charged after punching an
Dude, which part of fucking mute don't you get, you fucking idiots over there at CNN? Are you kidding me? It's muted. Why am I hearing it?
umpire last month at a high school baseball game.
Wow.
Gabriel Bassett. What do you think is happening?
God, this guy just not walked up to an umpire from his side and punched him. The guy didn't even see him walking up. Punched him in the face and knocked him out. It wasn't even a fucking strong punch, dude. He fucking kind of went like that with his hand. but he just caught him right on the chin, man. You punch someone on their mouth, bro. Doesn't take a lot. It does not take a lot. You hit them in the right spot, they're going to go down. This guy was a 63-year-old veteran disabled. This man walked up and knocked him out because he didn't like the call he gave his son during their sports session. You know, because sports is so great. Sports, yay! Yay, sports! So, we talk about that for a second. That's the mentality that sports gives people. War. Us versus them. The umpire gives you a bad call. You go up and punch him in the face. Yay, sports! Fucking idiot. Okay, what else? Is there anything else going on? There's nothing else in the news today. Bunch of killings. Happiness is a trap. I'm getting Reverb advertisements on CNN now because I went to Reverb.com. Fucking A. Buy this guitar, buy this guitar, buy this guitar. You looked at a $3,000 guitar. Look at this one, look at this one, look at this one. Buy, 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 buy. Fuck you, internet. Fuck you. Fucking creepy ass shit. I don't want targeted ads. I don't want that shit. If I wanted to buy that guitar, I would have bought it yesterday. Fuck you. So this is all just bullshit. This is all the news is bullshit. Summer movie season is back and this year's lineup is packed. Wow, that's a fucking headline. Vladimir Putin's anxious time. Okay, I guess we can't do news. Does anybody have anything you guys want to discuss? Maybe I should pull up some YouTube videos and just see what's going on. Deckinver's hanging out under bridges. Alright, how do you break
Right now I'm zip tied. I'm going to show you how to escape. My name is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer. I teach escape and evasion. You might have seen me on Shark Tank, the NBC Today Show, or Fox News, teaching some of my escape and evasion
Right,
tactics.
how do you get out of zip ties? Let's just fast forward. Fast forward it. Right here.
That won't happen right now, but we will find out because I ain't doing another take. So hands above my head.
Wow.
Just like that.
So if you've got freaking zip tie, if you're zip tied around your wrist, you put your hands up and pull them down really fast and apart and break them fast, and the plastic will snap if they're not like super thick. They've got thicker plastic that won't work on, but if it's just a zip tie, this guy shows a technique for breaking out of a freaking zip tie, man. I'll show it to you guys. I'll show you a video of him doing it. This is important information. If you're ever zip tied, man, and you got to get out, watch what this guy does. He's zip tied, right? Just a plastic zip tie. It looks like a 1/4 inch.
Don't get it. So hopefully that won't happen right now, but we will find out because I ain't doing another take. So hands above my head. Just like that, my hands are free. As you can see, it completely broke the lock. You can see there's no more lock in the middle there. So that's what you want to do. You can see my wrists. You can see I got the lines on them. So again, this was the movement. My hands are up here. I'm coming down, and you know, another way to look at it, besides, hey, you're elbowing somebody from behind, you're punching yourself in the stomach if you don't do it right, meaning if your hands don't go past. So your hands should look like this because you want them tight. That is how you escape zip ties. But remember, it's going to be duct tape, it's going to be rope, it's going to be zip ties, it's going to be handcuffs. If you want to know how to do this more, make sure you click below. You can see my...
That is awesome, dude. You know, that's helpful. That is helpful. So, there you go. Gabriel Bassett, what do you think is happening? With what, Gabriel? What are you talking about? What do I think is happening with what? Let me see what else is going on. Let's see what else we can look at. Homeless man finds Alex Jones, Bernie Sanders in the burnout. Well, let's watch a Dekine Brew video. He's on a creek, which is a river, which is nice. His audio is cut out there for a second. Looks like a deep, still waters run deep. Looks like a deep river, man. I don't know how deep that is. Still waters run deep. This is Dekine Brew on YouTube. He watches the show. He's a friend of the show. It's pretty, man. It's a pretty area he's in. Wonder if he's got trout in there. Yeah, anybody else want to talk to me this morning? You guys scared of me? What is it, man? My mom called me a dumbass this morning. Her and I got in an argument about Israel-Palestine. She called me a dumbass. He's doing the
Man, sorry about the mean video the other day. I don't know what I was thinking. Do not know what I was thinking. I don't. So I figured I'd make it up to you with the little river action,
a nice video, a friendly video.
Boy, the lens looks awfully dirty here. Give me a second, guys. Figured I'd make it up to you with a little driftwood, river otter, fishy river chills under the bridge chillins. Huh?
I like hearing the birds in the background. Alright, I'm ready to do a dab. I don't understand. All these people are watching the show. I got all these people here. Nobody's saying anything in any of the chats. You guys feel free to talk, man. Any of you? At all? You even want to say hello to me?
Patrick John Welder.
Hey, beat
Morning,
up.
Nick.
What's up, buddy? Here's one person. Thank you.
Woodchuck Montrose.
Hey, Woodchuck.
Hi, Nick.
Hello.
Yeah, I figured I'd come down here and have a little look-see. Not a bad spot. I mean, you could go, you could go swimming here. You could
get some
could
fish.
catch a freaking skinwalker.
I bet you it's
freaking
full of catfish in there. Oh my god.
cruising by, something I do not know.
Okay, let's check that time and check that orange. We are at 9:08. We're going in. 9:08. 9:08. And the market's looking good. We're getting a little recovery, a little slow walk up. We're over a penny and a half again on Harmony. Pepe is at 6.66. Negative. I'm looking forward to him getting into his impersonations. He's going to do some impersonations for us. So I'm looking forward to that in this video. But I like watching the water too, man. This is really cool. Remember, it's Dakine Brew on YouTube if you guys want to follow him. Give him some support. 10 seconds till smoky time if you guys are following along. If you're smoking along, love to hear from more of you besides Patrick and Woodchuck. So if you guys want to talk, feel free to say hello to me. Cheers, guys. No law regarding cannabis.
Good eye, mate. Crikey, I just heard something, so I figured I'd flip on the camera real quick. It's the fucking burnout hunter here. I'm hearing something out of my... I guess it'd be my right side. My right hemisphere good half of my goddamn. So I figured we'd have a look over there. Now let's look over there real slow. See if we can catch that son of a bitch here. Real slow. You don't do too fast. Now, slowly. Burnout hunter style. Remember? Burnout hunter style. Real slow. Let me tell you something, brother. You're gonna want our iodine products because you're so
Ultra potent.
So ultra potent. Almost so ultra potent. The ultra potency of the potency scale was actually determined by how ultra potent our super male vitality is. So on the ultra potent scale, it's skyrocketing. It's like Pepe right now.
Pepe.
It's like the goddamn Pepe, you know, you win, you lose.
You lose.
You're gonna want it, you know. Our water
We're losing.
filtration, you can see right here, our water filtration is working absolutely perfectly, folks. You can see it before your eyes, just sparkling crisp, clear water as far as the goddamn eye can see.
This is a perfectly built roof. Who did this? He's an architect. Whoever did that must be an architect. Art Vandelay. Architect. I build bridges. Aren't those engineers? I build pretty...
Bernie Sanders here.
Bernie
Yeah,
Sanders?
of course, you know, you can't go anywhere without Bernie Sanders, you know. He's gonna pop up eventually. I don't know what to say about the wacky people that are...
You gotta bring the
going on
voice
today,
down a little
but,
bit. You want to talk like Bernie? You gotta bring it down a little bit.
You shit out of luck.
You're a little too
You
high.
should have voted for
Bernie
me.
talks a little
You
lower.
could have voted for me. Now the truth has actually come out that I'm 160 years old. Like Trendy Nay, he's an old man. He's been here for a very, very long time.
Got a shout out. Nice. Hey, that's me he's talking about. We're just a bunch of old school content creators, man. That's all we are. We're washed up has-beens. But you know, we're good people. We still putting the content out there, man. Me and my 6 viewers right now. Me and my 6 viewers. See if we can do something about 6 viewers.
Yeah, y'all. Scored a little pipe today. Went to the head shop because I broke my bubbler. I lost my bubbler, so what I did was I put it on the ground and forgot it there, left it there, and freaking car ran over my pipe.
Whoa!
Broke it clean in half.
Oh!
So I had to score another pipe today.
That sucks.
Which is good because I've been smoking joints for the past few days. So the pipe's hitting pretty good, get me nice and baked.
Look at that tag right behind him. That's actually a good looking tag, man. That was funny. I usually hate graffiti, but that was good. That was a good one, man. It was really good. You know, graffiti like that no one ever sees. It's not like out in the public eye where everyone has to look at it when they're driving by. That's cool, man. You put it where only a few people are going to see it and where they can really appreciate it. That's cool,
Never
man.
leave home without it, folks.
Under a bridge. Whoa. Quite a sack you got there, son.
Never leave home without the marriage of Joan.
He's got some good looking bud. You know what that looks like, my OG Kush?
One love, peace.
What, you're not gonna stay and smoke with us, Takine Brew? What? What? He's not gonna do a hit with us? Unreal. I waited all that time to do a hit with Takine. Who does that? Whatever. What is this? Reacting to racist propaganda with more racism. That's the one I never clicked on. I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to watch that live, I'm sure. So I'm thinking OG Kush. Okay.
Roasted garlic berry.
Hey, RGB. RGB. What's up, son? We're about to smoke. Key time. We got the Pitbull bong, and we're chilling and singing a song. I really want to watch the racism video. I really, really do. But should we watch Crypto Kid instead?
Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's
No law
video,
regarding
we're gonna be
cannabis.
looking
Cheers,
at the price
everybody.
of Bitcoin and
Roasted
Pepe,
garlic
because
berry
both are
in the
coming
chat.
towards the downside, so make sure to
Woodchuck
stick around
Montrose.
until the end of this
Dave
video.
C.
Patrick
Fisher.
John
Also
Welder,
a
Dave C.
very
Fisher.
important
Morning, bro,
announcement
smoke
that I need
time.
to warn
Gabriel
you guys
Bassett,
about
if you're still
you
here.
are a trader.
Everybody's
So
watching on
make sure to
Rumble.
stick around.
Everybody's
Let's
watching on
start off
kick.com
with Bitcoin
/Nate's
because
Garden.
we are falling.
Cheers to all of you.
So if I jump to the price of Bitcoin, if you watched the video this morning, we were around this $28,200 level, and I did say that if we will likely see some continuation over here and then break towards the downside to the 27.6K level. Now that happened perfectly, so I want to say a massive congratulations to you guys if you did decide to follow that. Now we saw another bear flag happening right over here after we came down to this critical support at 27.7K, and then of course we saw another fall to our final very important support. It's not our final, but on the shorter time frame, it's a very important level at 27.2K. Now what's going to happen right now? So we have actually been breaking
279
down from this massive symmetrical triangle on the daily chart, and God, my chart is pretty crowded now, but I don't want to delete it at the moment. So we saw this huge breakdown from this symmetrical triangle. I did talk about this in the video in the morning, so it's super important that you guys turn on your notifications so you get updated
Not
immediately
important.
when I post. But what I think could happen is, we should at least see some sort of reversal towards the upside because we have fallen down pretty drastically, maybe a small dead cat bounce. But right now I'm not trading. If you're in the free Telegram
Roasted
group, I did
garlic berry.
update you guys saying
Good
that
bottom
I'm
here.
now closed all of my short positions and I'm just monitoring the markets right now. So let's see. This is a very key level of
Could bottom here? No, just look at the charts, bro. Look at our charts. Look at. Are you guys all looking at these charts? We bottomed 24 hours ago. When I said I'm buying the dip, I bought the dip. Like I told you guys, right? And I said tomorrow I want to say I bought the
Roasted
dip.
garlic berry. This is how double bottoms are formed.
Oh, you think? You think? Let's see what Crypto Kid says.
support. We could see like a dead cat bounce back to the 27.7, but just monitor the markets. It's going to be pretty interesting. We have CPI day, I believe, on Wednesday, so that will determine the markets again, and we'll see some volatility pretty soon. Now, the second thing that I want to go to is Pepe. Now, Pepe has been seeing a little bit of a big correction. Now, of course, we saw the Binance list.
A little bit of a big correction. I love the way he worded that.
And the best time to sell Pepe, in my opinion, was when we listed on Binance as a buy the rumor, sell the news situation. That was the top for Pepe, and now we're coming towards the downside. It looks like the hype around Pepe is beginning to fade.
That's
and
what everyone's saying.
The other meme coins are slowly starting to fade also.
This is what
so
everyone's
it looks
saying.
like the trend is about to die. I
This
know
is what
some
everyone's
of you
saying.
guys who are like,
Dude, I'm totally aped into it, bro. And I wonder how many other people are going to be too. You know, this is what Lark Davis said. This is what he is saying now. Everyone should just take all your money out right now and walk away. It's happened to me on a lot of other coins too, man. It really has. It's happened to me on a lot of coins. And it's probably going to happen on this one too. That's what these guys say. These guys are usually right about everything. But I just don't like it.
massive meme coin fans are going to like destroy me in the comments, but it's the truth, you know. I believe that it's
Roasted
fading
garlic
down a
berry.
little bit. Maybe we'll see it for
Notice
another
when
week or
all
two,
the Pepe hype
but
was going on. It was topping out. Reminds me of the times with Doge and Shiba.
Yeah, but Pepe's just more iconic, man. Pepe's more iconic. I mean, that's what I'm putting my money on. We want to see Pepe go back to 420. It was at 202 this morning. It's at 198 now. Ugh. All right, it's still falling.
you know, the thing is, right, Bitcoin is always there. Bitcoin always exists. That's
that
why
is why
I'm a Bitcoin.
When I said I wanted to buy the dip yesterday, I didn't just buy Pepe. I bought fucking Bitcoin and I bought Harmony, which Harmony's now going up to
guy and not a meme coin person.
It's almost about to hit
the problem with the
1600.
Bitcoin network, by the way, this was pretty big FUD. And you
1671 is the
you
high.
can withdraw from Binance, which I talked about also. It was because mostly of the Bitcoin ordinals NFTs, they were clogging up the Bitcoin system, which is why the gas fees went skyrocketed pretty highly. So
Not for
this
me.
is why NFTs on Bitcoin doesn't
I spent $18 buying Bitcoin yesterday. Two purchases.
really work, and that's why we need stuff like Ethereum to have that. And Bitcoin is, your peer-to-peer payment solution. It shouldn't be meant for NFTs. So this is what I wanted to add. But the major announcement for traders is today's the day that Bybit is going to require mandatory KYC. And I know a lot of you actually don't like to do KYC, and there is an option right now at the moment. So don't be scared if you go into your Bybit account and you won't be able to do any of the financial services like trading, etc. It's because you will have to do KYC if you haven't done already. For the meantime, you can go to Bitflex. Actually, it's a pretty new exchange. I've been talking about it in my previous videos, and if you go to the description below, you can get actually up to a $2,000 bonus with no KYC at the moment, which is super nice. And it's very simple to use. It's very easy to use. I'll make a tutorial on it soon, and that's pretty much it. And guys, make sure to stay tuned because tomorrow I'll be uploading a video with DaVinci and the guys, and DaVinci is sharing some pretty interesting information about AI, which you probably haven't seen anywhere else. So do stick around for that. But guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a good night, and I'll see you all very soon.
Did he stop saying age is only a number and 15 and so is the price of Bitcoin? Did he stop saying that? It makes him so much more tolerable, doesn't it? Kid's great, man. He's great.
Roasted garlic berry. Do you think it's possible BTC runs to 32?
Bro, I don't know what the rhythm of this market is, bro. I really don't. I don't know, man. It's a good question. You mean hit 32 and then crash? Dude, if Bitcoin hits, where's my fucking buy-in at? 38? I think my average purchase price of Bitcoin is 38. I hit 0 on Bitcoin, then I'm doing really good. Because I bought a lot of Bitcoin underneath that price. Look at that.
Roasted garlic berry.
Rotten grape.
That's what I've been wondering. The market's been sideways for a while up here holding.
Fucking rotten grape. Gotta watch out for that shit, bro. Gotta watch out for them rotten grapes, man. You might just pop one in your mouth and not realize it. There's an analogy there for life. Pay attention, man. You know? The way these motherfuckers lie to you, all day long, you're getting lied to all day. And pretty soon you're going to pop one of them fucking lies in, and it's going to fuck you up. It's going to be a rotten grape. I don't know, is that a good analogy? It probably sucks. I'm trying to wax poetic. It ain't working. Did you guys see the movie, the show? This is another one. Look at this. Got a hole in it from it. Looks like a bug bored right into the middle of that motherfucker. Fuck that shit. Unreal. I can't even throw. All right. Love you. Bye. Goodbye from the dumbass. forgot what I was saying. We're talking about rotten grapes and getting lied to. It's another one right here. Look at this. Dude, what the fuck is with all these rotten grapes, man? It's not me, dude. You know, I'm not imagining this shit.
Roasted garlic berry. About to take a dab myself. Cheers, Ned.
How dare you? Wait for me, good sir. Don't wait. You got to go in at the right time. I'll catch up. Unless you're on one of them sporty emails. "11 hours ago, back to the science debunking video."
Hello, and welcome to Back to the Science.
Welcome.
I'm Dr. Susan Oliver, and I'm a scientist. And
Scientist.
apologies to Cindy fans, but she's currently at my mother's place because I was at her 60th birthday
Okay,
party
as long as
last
she's
night.
okay.
But here's one of her toys, and I should have really thought of something clever to say about it and make it work in with the video.
No.
But I didn't. But
No.
anyway, if you stick to
That's
the
weird.
email, we'll show you some footage of what Cindy got up to during the week.
But understand that scientists are a little quirky. It doesn't mean that she's a liar, okay? So this woman's entire involvement in the industry has been completely exposed. She never denies anything. She's totally in the industry. She's been in it her whole life. She researches. She does all that shit. She's a fucking scientist, and she's worked for the industry for fucking years. That's what her line of study was. She's an expert in this shit, right? And she comes off a little crazy, you know, kind of like a little quirky, you know, but listen to what she says. And you should go through, this is Back to the Science, you guys, on YouTube. And you should go through and watch her debunk all of Jimmy Dore's stupid guests. You know, and I'd love to see her debunking doctor, and I use that term extremely, extremely loosely. Dr. Lobotomy down here in Florida, Ladapo. Dr. Lobotomy, I refer to him as. He's made some untrue statements, and people like Kim Iverson and Jimmy Dore have parroted his bullshit.
Now, if you spend any time on social media, you will have seen many examples of what has been dubbed as ghouling, which is when disgusting ghouls share news stories of young people who have died suddenly and try to suggest that the death was caused by you know what.
Right.
Without having any knowledge of the
I should teach her that so she can refer to it instead of saying, you know what. Because you guys know what when I go,
actual cause.
algorithms, bro.
In this video,
Everyone,
we're going to
you
go
know,
back to the science.
it's bullshit that even a scientist that debunks lies has to watch how she refers to the on her channel now. Crazy, right? She usually just uses the word. The V word.
And look at a new study from Australia, which shows that there is no link between vaccination and sudden cardiac death in young people. But first, let's have a quick look at what the ghouls are saying.
So this is where I have to be careful because this is where the misinformation gets read out. So that's misinformation. Hello to the YouTube algorithms and everybody watching that might be reviewing this video. This is a woman that is debunking what is being said here. I'm agreeing with her. I'm also debunking what is being said here on my video. Don't give me a strike for misinformation because there might be some here. I'm not claiming this is... Anyway, I'll go through this. She goes on to talk about, oh, look, she's got a tinfoil hat on.
Tick died suddenly Twitter account. And these are the same people who made the infamous Died Suddenly movie, which Cindy and I previously made a video about.
Right, so if you saw that movie, Died Suddenly, you can go watch her debunk it.
a school teacher and mother of a 9-year-old boy has.
Okay, so I have to pause that. And this is more misinformation. I'll show it, but I can't say it. I can't talk about this on my channel or I'll get a strike. And you guys can't talk about it in the chat or you'll get me a strike. So just so you know, we'll look at this, right? This is the lie that, you know, Dr. Lobotomy down here in Florida, hired by Ron DeSantis, is putting out there. And she's probably going to debunk this. I'd love for you to hear that.
This is the softly approach. Just awful.
Okay, so we can't read that out loud on my channel. She can, of course, read it out loud on her channel.
And I've made a video about a dodgy paper that he published, which was wall-to-wall disinformation.
Lies.
The impression these ghouls and many others like them are trying to create is that young people have never died suddenly before. And so every death that has occurred since the vaccine rollout...
So I can't even let her say that. But you understand what is being said. And I wonder if she gets into Dr. Lobotomy on this video. Or I wonder if Dr. Ladapo, and I wonder if we go through her channel, if we can find something on Ladapo.
Hello, and welcome to Back to the Science. I'm Dr. Susan Oliver, and I'm a scientist.
That's a pain in the ass. They've got some kind of a disclaimer there that I accidentally clicked on. I just want to find her channel. There it is. That was weird. And we'll just search her videos. Right here. And we'll type in Ladapo. Well, there's two debunk videos on Ladapo right there. Let's click on this one first.
Roasted garlic berry.
Hello, and welcome to
Dr.
Back to the
Lobotomy,
Science.
haha.
I'm Dr. Susan.
Dr. Lobotomy, yeah.
Oliver, and I'm a scientist, and this is Cindy Oliver, and she's a dog.
I always
Now,
confuse
last
their
year,
names.
I made a video about
Like,
a study
she's
that had
Dr.
been
Cindy
done on
Oliver?
people who had been vaccinated
And
in
dog's name
Florida,
is Susan?
which contained the excellent news that there was no increase in mortality following vaccination in any age group. Strangely enough, though,
Okay.
a lot of people discussing the study, including the Surgeon General of Florida,
Right.
weren't talking about these amazing results. Instead, they chose to look at a small
I tweeted at her and I asked her to do this. This video that she put up was put up 4 weeks ago. Would you like to see the tweet? I actually left her messages under her YouTube videos too. I said, please expose Dr. Lobotomy, Dr. Ladapo in Florida, please.
subgroup analysis that didn't show such positive results, leading to the claim that there was an increase in cardiac-related mortality in men aged.
Right. That's the misinformation part. Now, we can't play this video, but you can go watch it. Now, if we all went over to Rumble, I could shut off the main YouTube channel. And I could risk this on my other YouTube channels, but I shouldn't. I should shut off all my YouTube channels. Everybody could come to Rumble and we could actually watch all of these fucking videos and talk about them and everything. Rumble, Kick, all that shit.
Johnny's military service. Can she be any more annoying?
Yeah.
Jason Holloway.
Yeah, she could be.
What's Rumble?
She could be you. Let's watch some more of her.
18 to 39 following vaccination. Of course, if this was true, it meant that there was a decrease in non-cardiac mortality
Since
in
she
the same age group.
since she annoys you so much.
For some reason, this wasn't discussed. And if you would like to
I got a
know
little
more
grape
about
juice
the
down the
issues
lung
with
hole.
the study, I will provide a link to the video that I made about it at the time in this video's description. But in this video, we won't be talking about the flaws in the study. We will be talking about information that was deliberately removed from the study to support
What's
an
Rumble?
anti-vax agenda.
What's Rumble? Rumble is rumble.com. Oh, well, here, let me just give you a link. That's my Rumble, bro. I'm rumbling. It's like YouTube, but it's free speech. You can say whatever you want on Rumble. We can watch movies on Rumble. They don't pursue copyright like YouTube does. You know? My mom's gone. I could play my guitar, which is cool. I could play something on my guitar. We'll play one song. We'll play one song. It'll be a fun song. Let's play a fun song. I know exactly what I'm going to play. A real fun song from a real fun band. Except, let's see. I'm going to move this camera over here, man. I'll move that camera right there. Move this right there. Plug this bad boy in right here. Do we have powers? By the powers vested in me. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, yes, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Woodchuck Montrose.
Me. Well, now they call me the breeze. I keep rolling down the road. Well, now they call me the breeze. I keep rolling down the road. I ain't hiding from no. It's not. I ain't hiding from nobody. It's. There ain't no change in the weather, and no changes in me. There ain't no change in the weather, and no changes in me. I ain't hiding from nobody, nobody's hiding from me. Oh, ain't that the way it's supposed to be? damn. God damn. And I forget the words coming in. I got that green light, baby. I got to keep moving on. I got that green light, baby. I got to keep moving on. Out to California, might go down to Georgia, I don't know. Oh, well, they call me the breeze. I keep rolling down the road. Well, now they call me the breeze. I keep rolling down the road. I ain't hiding from nobody. I don't carry me no. Mr. Breeze. All right, there we go. Had to get that out of me. Okay. Just do one song at a time.
Jason Holloway. Awesome dude.
Thank you, brother. Because, you know, I've got arthritis. But I've also got trendy triage oil here. Trendy AF. Trendy AF. Put it right where the pain is. Right where the pain is. All right, so I want to watch more as Dr. Susan Oliver later. I definitely want to hear what she has to say about LaDaPa. The problem is, LaDaPa says such lies. I'm not allowed to play that on my, well, look, I'm like Ben Shapiro because I've got like 2 different camera angles, and then like I could turn off the other camera angle like this and leave this one like right here, and then I'm like totally like
Johnny's military service. I always AE with you when it comes to guitar playing.
look at me. I'm like Ben Shapiro because look, I've got like 2 camera angles,
Bonsai
and I've got
house.
this other camera angle.
Morning.
And my other camera angle is like this, and I could just talk like this, and I could tell you that I'm a lawyer, and that I'm very, very smart, because I'm Ben Shapiro, and I wear yarmulke, because there's a God, and I know that there's a God, and that makes me smarter than you, because I went to Harvard, and I went to other colleges and schools, and I've got a law degree, so I'm like really smart, and I know that more, I'm spitting up on myself. More African Americans kill African Americans than police do, and I know that's a fact. Well, let me tell you something, Ben. Facts don't care about your feelings. So it doesn't matter that you think that more African Americans kill African Americans than police do. There's still a problem of police killing African Americans, Ben. And that fact doesn't care about your feelings, does it, mister? The camera's here, Ben. Okay, the camera's right here, Ben. Look at the fucking camera, Ben. Fucking idiot. God, I hate that shit. Do you guys like that? Boom, boom. Hey, oh, Billy, you got here just in time for my Ben Shapiro, man. Did you like that? I didn't even know you were here, man. Awesome. I'm all charged up now. I'm a hard charger. God damn it, that reminds me. Fuck.
Carolyn Hardman. Good morning.
Hi, Carolyn Hardman. How are you?
Carolyn Hardman. In fired up this M2 LOL. Carolyn Hardman. I am Eat, how are you? Carolyn Hardman. Apply I can't spell this morning.
No, no,
Bonsai House.
You're spelling just perfectly.
Actual education, he graduated from the University of California, Los Angeles, in 2004, at age 20, with a Bachelor of Arts, summa cum laude, in political science and membership in Phi Beta Kappa.
Cum laude. Cum
Bonsai
laude.
House.
Cum laude.
Afterwards, he attended Harvard Law School, graduating in 2007 with a JD, cum laude. Bonsai House. What's a cum laude? Ha 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 ha.
You can come quietly or you can come loud. Which do you prefer? Are there people in the house? You got kids? It sucks to be you. I guess I can come louder than you can. This is my question. Dabs for days. War pigs. Dabs for days. Aaron Ide, what's up? So, this has meaning when that goes to 59 and that becomes 420. Newfoundland, time to smoky time. Man, I think I smoked too much. No. I think I smoked just enough. Actually, I think I smoked just enough. Let's smoke some more. Every human intakes exactly how much THC they require. Okay, here we go. Look at this. Looking at you and shutting it down. What else we got? We
Carolyn Hardman.
We can't talk about misinformation.
No, never enough.
I told you guys to come over to Rumble and none of you did, so we're not going to do that. All right. We're going to do this. Why intellectuals are mostly left-handed. Oh, why they're left. Oh, I got you. It's interesting. 4 years ago. Whatever, dude. Yeah, intellectuals are lefties.
Johnny's military service.
Let's take people's speech away from them.
I just find it strange how Shapiro embraces the faith.
I've got a yarmulke on, so I have faith in a God that's above me, and you might believe in Jesus Christ, but I don't believe in Jesus Christ because I'm Jewish and I'm better than you. Because Judaism is older than Christianity, and I went to college, and I studied that, and I know that that's a fact. So we've been around for 5,000 years, and you've only been around for not 5,000 years. You know, you might look around and see that most Jews in this country don't wear yarmulkes on their head, but then you might look at me, Ben Shapiro, and go, Ben Shapiro wears a yarmulke on his head, and then I would say to you this: I'm better than everybody else. That's why I wear a yarmulke on my head, because I'm better. I'm a better person. It makes me better. He really believes that, I bet, that he's better because he does that. Like, he's a better Jew. He's more devout because he wears that little piece of, that garment on his head. Okay, 53, I'm in.
Bonsai House.
At 53.
Hilarious how people say they're smart, then they go to temple and LARP. I rolled a 7 out of 20, LARP. So I'm going to Magic Pixie Land.
He's a LARP, I know. He's a LARPer. Wait, no, this goes toward me here. This goes toward me here. Hey, looking at you, looking at this kiddo. That's what's going on. Isn't it? Yes, that is what is going on here. We're doing that. That is what we're doing. That is why we're doing it. Michael Saylor's on freaking, oh, jeez Louise.
Mental organizations.
He's got
to
fucking
get stronger,
Valuetainment
and as they get
has
stronger,
Michael
they
Saylor
raise
on.
Taxes,
Fuck you,
they funnel the
Valuetainment.
taxes into
Thank
the
you for
police
having
state and
Michael
the control
Saylor on.
state. And pretty soon, it's illegal to bake bread. It's illegal to row up a river.
No
it's
law
illegal
regarding
to cross
cannabis.
the river. It's, you know, if you have
Cheers,
land,
everybody.
you have to pay tax. If you pay tax, it has to double. If, you know, the taxes were used, it used to be we paid tax to pay ministers to preach religious beliefs that you disagreed with. And if you, you know, if you actually laughed or kissed your wife on a Sunday, they whipped you. You know, and fined you and seized your property because you were disrespectful to the Almighty Lord. And I'd like to say it was unique and a one-time thing, but it wasn't. It's kind of the history of humanity. So it's going on today. It's reprehensible, and you can't see politicians that will articulate that message that the people cannot be trusted and the government needs to control everything. Luckily, we're in Florida, where we have a number of politicians that believe differently. I'm hopeful that we'll see a backlash to the control tendencies in the political sphere that have manifested themselves over the past few years. And CBDC is just one of those touchstones. It's not the only one. It won't be the last one. It wasn't the first one.
So, you know, there's an article that just came out a couple days ago, May 3rd, saying Michael Saylor, I don't know if you know that guy or not, pretty big deal of a guy. We like him a lot. Michael Saylor says banking crisis is driving Bitcoin adoption. This is Coin Edition story. And in the story, you're talking about, you know, you talked about this briefly earlier as well. MicroStrategy, Microsoft believes that the fiat and banking crisis is driving the adoption of Bitcoin, stating that Bitcoin adoption is being driven by the progressive global loss of confidence in fiat currencies, conventional banking,
Double yellow markers
competing
on Harmony
assets.
One.
Bitcoin's recent rally has led to a significant reduction in
1585,
MicroStrategy's
guys.
BTC
1586.
impairment loss, allowing the firm to strengthen its capital structure. Saylor indicated that MicroStrategy will continue to accumulate Bitcoins as investors' confidence in fiat continues to erode, stating that the real key with Bitcoin is just to be able to hold on to it and stomach the volatility. Just to be able to hold on to and stomach the volatility, which, by the way, very, very hard to do. Just earlier, we read an article by Warren Buffett that they asked him what's the key to success. He says it's making one great decision every 5 years. They were showing his 3.4 million % return in the last 50 years, and he says that's a byproduct of us making 12 great decisions to make what we've done today. It's hard to kind of make a decision and stick to it during good and bad times. Reason why I ask this question is the following.
1588.
Gold, on the other hand. You know, there were certain markers you looked at. Hey, inflation is up. You know, hey, interest rates are going up. Hey, we're printing money. Hey, they're printing more money. Hey, they're sending more money out. Gold would typically, there would be a reaction to it, right? Now, that is more of a reaction towards crypto and Bitcoin, where it's no longer the reaction towards gold. Why do you think that's happened to gold?
I think gold's getting demonetized by Bitcoin right now. If you look at the past 3 years, since MicroStrategy bought $250 million worth of Bitcoin in August of 2020, since that time, Bitcoin's up about 140%. The S&P's up about 20%. NASDAQ's up 10%. Gold's up 1%. Silver's down about 8%. Bonds are down 18%. Conclusion? Right, if you buy debt, government debt, you're going to be bankrupt. That's why those banks are going bankrupt. All the banks had debt. When the interest rates went through the roof, the debt traded down, and they all were technically insolvent. The problem with gold is, first of all, if I bought $250 million worth of gold, I can't carry it around in my pocket. I can't take self-custody of it. I can't move it anywhere. I can't transfer it to a counterparty. And so that means I have to put it in a bank. There's only a handful of banks in the world that custody it. And the banks rehypothecate the gold. So that means that if you wanted to sell $250 million of gold, the bank will sell your gold. If you want to buy it, they'll sell you paper, and the paper gold isn't backed by the actual gold. So you have fractional reserve banking of gold. right? You don't want to own an asset where the bank can sell 100x more of that asset than they own. That the whole problem with fiat currency, right? If you look at the history of banking, it was, goldsmiths. Goldsmiths have gold when gold was money, and they give you a note. So you give me $1 million of gold, they give you $1 million note. You trade the notes back and forth. That's your paper money. It works fine as long as it's 1-to-1. But then the guy that's the goldsmith says, holy crap, I actually can give him $1 million note, and he thinks that I've got $1 million of gold backing it, and now there's $2 million in the system. And then I give him $1 million, and now there's $3 million in the system. Now there's 3 times as much money. There's 1 stack of gold worth $1 million. Prices go through the roof. That's inflation. And eventually, you come back and you try to redeem your paper for the stack. I give you your gold back, and you try to redeem, and the gold's gone, and you try to redeem, and the gold's gone. Okay, I'm bankrupt. Oops. Okay, so when did this idea of over-issuing paper money start? It didn't start, when Nixon defaulted on the gold standard, he wasn't the first, he was just the most famous, right? People have been defaulting
36-cent Cardano
paper money probably for thousands of years.
And Nixon just made it official.
13.4 pennies.
Yeah, so the issue is, if gold is money and it goes into a bank, the bankers issue 10x more paper than there is gold. You have inflation. Eventually, right, when the French tried to redeem their paper dollars for gold, the U.S. basically closed the gold window. We defaulted on that obligation, and we started a cycle of inflation from 1971 on that's been running 50 years. Now, when FTX failed, it was no different. The issue is people put Bitcoin on FTX, and then Sam turned around and issued 3x as much paper, obligations. And when people try to withdraw the Bitcoin, he doesn't have it. He fails. When Silicon Valley Bank failed, or when any of these other bank fails, they had a certain amount of money, and then they turned around and they invested it. And their investment was in government securities. The securities traded down. Now they were insolvent. When people try to withdraw their money, they don't actually have the money to pay them off. The banks fail. So when you look at this banking crisis, what's going on? What you've got is a bunch of banks everywhere in the world that have shaky assets, right? What's really shaky? Well, if you actually hold Argentine pesos or Nigerian naira, and then you triple the supply of them every year, the value goes to zero, right? If that's your currency base or your asset base, you're going to be insolvent. When people put $10 billion into a bank backed by pesos, the peso goes to zero. The bank turns around and reloans out $20 billion. Now there's $30 billion circulating on $10 billion in the bank. When you try to withdraw the money, the bank collapses, the entire economy collapses. That's going on everywhere in the world. It's much worse in Lebanon or Nigeria or in Argentina than it is in the U.S. It's bad in the U.S., but it's cracking on the seams with, First Republic Bank and Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank and the like. But what do you conclude if you're an individual? If you're if you're a company, or if you're a family, or if you're an individual and you live in Zimbabwe, what would you do? Well, you're not going to buy gold and put it in the bank. The bank's just going to seize your gold. You're not even going to buy dollars and put it in the bank. The bank is going to seize your dollars. You're not going to buy local Zimbabwe dollars. They're going to zero as you stare at them. They're going to lose 10% of their value a month. Right, they're just melting in your hand. So you got to buy something you can custody. So before Bitcoin, you would have bought bars of soap, crates of toilet paper. You would have bought motorcycles. You would have bought a Humvee. You would have bought barrels of oil. You would have bought anything. You would have bought food. You would have bought bullets. You would have bought guns. Anything tangible that you can self-custody, you would have held. Now, after Bitcoin, you now have, for the first time in human history, the ability to buy not a barrel of oil, but $80 worth of Bitcoin, and you put it on your phone, and now you can go through an airport with the Bitcoin. You can't go through the airport with a barrel of oil, right? And you don't. What's the big difference? The difference between gold and Bitcoin, and the reason Bitcoin is up 140% and gold is up 1%, is the middle class family can custody their own Bitcoin, and a wealthy person can either hold $10 million of Bitcoin in self-custody, or if I live in Africa, I can move the $10 million of Bitcoin to Monaco, Singapore, London, Paris, New York, or Miami Beach. And that is not an option you have with your gold. It's not an option you have with your dollars. When you're an Argentine citizen and you actually call up the bank and say, hey, move my $1 million out of Argentina and send it to Switzerland, they're like,
not so fast.
No, they have capital controls, they have banking controls. The people in Lebanon with millions of dollars in Lebanese banks, they wanted to get their money out of Lebanon. It was like, well, sorry, your funds are frozen. Why? Because the bank never had the $1 million. As soon as you put the $1 million in the bank in Lebanon, they turned around and loaned it to the government. It's gone. The government spent the $1 million. You try to get the money out, the bank closes its doors. Right? Is that illegal?
House.
No, because the guy that runs the government passed a law declaring a bank holiday.
He does that all the time
with a barrel of oil.
We can't allow you to redeem your dollars. So, the bottom line is, if you're trying to use money that requires banks, you can't trust the banks. Right?
Johnny's
you certainly
military
can't trust
service.
the banks in Africa,
so
in
you
South
have the
America,
ability to
and most of
self-custody
Asia.
nothing.
It used to be Americans thought they could trust American banks. Now they're realizing that they can't trust American banks. So the first order impact of the banking crisis is people think, well, maybe the money I had in the bank's going away, and so I ought to put it in a bank in cyberspace that isn't controlled by the government or by the bankers, and that's Bitcoin. The second order impact is the solution to the banking crisis is print more dollars. And if you print more dollars, the actual monetary inflation rate goes 10%, 15%, 20%. So you think, why do you think those bonds crashed? Because they're actually claims on dollars. Do you really want to hold $1 billion of Zimbabwe dollars? What if I offered you 10 billion Zimbabwe dollars? I mean, the answer is it's going to a nickel. Okay, so if the paper currency keeps crashing, then you can't own anything that's currency related. You can't own a currency derivative. You need to own something that politicians can't print more of. Okay, well, that's oil, that's land, but the problem is, try hauling 100,000 barrels
Patrick
of
John
oil
Welder.
from where you are.
I don't have most of my money in a bank, but is Uphold and Coinbase safer?
I'll give you $1 billion of land in Central Africa, and then someone takes over with machine guns and declares that everyone with large amounts of land now loses it. That happened in Zimbabwe. You're going to pick up the land on your back and carry it to France? So it's simple. If people lose faith in the banks, they lose faith in the currency. When they lose faith in the currency, they lose faith in the government. When you lose faith in the bank, the currency, and the government, and someone says, what can you trust? The answer is you can trust Bitcoin because you can custody your own asset, you can run your own node. And at the end of the day, even if the Chinese want to shut it down, they can't. If the Russians want to shut it down, they can't. If any nation state wants to shut it down, they can't. If the U.S. wanted to shut it down, they can't. And so everybody wants something that they can trust that is beyond the reach of a corrupt politician, a corrupt corporate executive, or they don't have to be corrupt. They can just be well-meaning, trying to do the right thing.
My money is in garden equipment. I keep it in a satchel.
And meddling with your economic life.
If there's ever been a time for you to make that argument and make it aggressively and scream it off at the top of your lungs, is right now, especially the fact that 3 out of the 4 largest banks that ever gone out of business in the history of America were done in the last 90 days. You got WAMU was the biggest, which was September of 2008, $307 billion. First Republic was $212 billion. That was May 1st. Silicon Valley Bank, March 10th, $209 billion. Signature Bank, March 12th, 110 billion, and the next one, closest one to it, is IndyMac. If you remember, IndyMac was only a 31 billion dollar company back then in 08. So someone may be listening to this and say, "Oh my God, man, if this guy's right. Maybe I ought to start moving my money out of my bank as soon as possible." And, you know, Jamie Dimon, I know these guys are trying to get people not to take their money out of the bank and have too many bank runs, because if they do that, and you know, some are taking their money out of their bank and putting it in the money market, is Michael saying take my money out and put it in Bitcoin, or are you saying maybe take it and put it in a bigger bank? I'm a little concerned, Michael. You sound smarter than me. What should I do? The average person's thinking that right now. So are you saying that these 3 out of 4 largest banks that went out of business that happened in the last 90 days, there's more to come and things are going to get uglier than what it's been last 90 days? Or are you just saying the fact that if you keep your money in the bank, at any point they can make that decision and control your money?
I'm saying that money is a store of value, and there are multiple monies, and they're not created equal. So let me give you the world's worst money. The worst money in the world is like Argentine pesos or Venezuelan bolivars or Zimbabwe dollars or Nigerian naira. Weak money. The official inflation rate in Argentina is 105%. But that's the official rate, which is that understates it. The actual inflation rate would be higher. And if the inflation rate is running 100%, that means your money is losing half of its value every 12 months. That means that within 10 years, you have nothing. Okay? So bad money, bad currency or bad money loses all of its value over the course of a few years. In Venezuela, you lose all your value in 36 months. In Argentina, in 10 to 20 years, the Argentine peso was 1 to the dollar 21 years ago. If you had $1 million 21 years ago, the Argentine peso right now is about 480 to the dollar. So that's not a 99%
Treasure
loss.
Coast Waters.
That's a 99.8% loss, right?
In how many years?
21 years. Okay, so what I'm saying is you don't have money if you have weak currency. Now let's take strong currency. Well, the strongest currency in the world is the dollar. That's not money. You're losing 99% of your wealth over the course of 90 years in the U.S. dollar, maybe more. The U.S. dollar, the only difference between the U.S. dollar and the peso is whereas it takes 20 years to lose your family's fortune in the peso, it takes about 90 years to lose your family's fortune in the dollar. Right? My house in Miami Beach was $100,000 in 1930. It was appraised at $46 million a few years ago. Do the calculation. It's on a path to be worth $100 million, which means that the U.S. dollar will have lost 99.9% of its value over 100 years. Warren Buffett knows this. Charlie Munger knows this. Basically, the bottom line there is your money in the bank isn't money. Okay, so the answer is you shouldn't have any money in a bank, right? You're basically losing 7% of all your wealth every year in a good year. If it's the dollar, you're losing 15% of your wealth in a not good year. If it's the dollar, you're absolutely losing all your money over the course of a decade. So that's kind of weak money. Awful money is developing world money, the Lebanese pound. The Lebanese pound got devalued. I mean, you would have lost all your money in 5 years if you had the pound. The strongest money, decent money, okay money was gold, but not great. The strongest money in the world is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is absolutely capped at 21 million. It is global money. You could take $1 billion of Bitcoin across a border. You can transfer it to a counterparty, and no government can interdict that, and nobody can inflate that. And so my answer there would be, you can't trust any bank. You certainly can't trust a bank in Lebanon. Read about Lebanese banks. You can't trust a bank in Africa. You can't trust a bank in Asia.
Michael, but if you call Chase, their customer service is amazing. How is the customer service with Bitcoin when you call the 1-800 number?
There's nobody
to call
working at the bank of Bitcoin to steal your money. right?
Thank you for calling Bitcoin. This is John Doe calling. I can't do nothing for you. You got to make the decision yourself. But I just want to say hi to you.
But, you know, Bitcoin is a bank in cyberspace run by incorruptible software. It's going to keep your money. If you are incompetent, then you're going to suffer the consequences. But let's think about what banking executives in the U.S. do. The U.S. banking system is the best in the world. Here's what they do. You put $100 billion into the bank. They have the deposits. They turn around. The Federal Reserve interest rate, short-term rate, was 0. And these guys went and invested $100 billion of those deposits in mid-dated, long-dated sovereign debt that was yielding 1.8% interest. The Federal Reserve took the interest. By the way, would you loan me money for 30 years at 3% interest rate? Like, can you imagine that? If the inflation rate was 8 or 10%, would you loan money out at 3% interest rate for the rest of your life?
Not in a million years.
Okay, that's what the banking executives in the U.S. did. At the point when the
You're talking about Silicon Valley Bank.
All of them, right?
Pretty much all these guys.
Not just the ones that went bankrupt, right? There's a host of banks. I think they had, what was it, like $800 billion of unrealized losses or something. A host of banks went, and anybody that bought mid-dated or long-dated bonds at the bottom of the market when interest rates were 0, they were loaning out money forever at 2% interest or 3% interest or 1.5% interest. And as soon as you redeem, what happened, of course, is the Fed raised interest rates from 25 basis points. Actually, the rates went from 0 to 500 basis points in 12 months. That's the sharpest increase in interest rates in memory. That in itself is, I'm not going to say what it is. It's just horrific, terrifying to think that any public servant would do that. But it's equally terrifying to think that if I was your money manager and if you had given me all your money when interest rates were 0, and I said, well, I guess interest rates will stay 0 for the next 30 years, and so I'm going to loan it out as a bond and lock in a price of 2%, you would have thought I was crazy. No, there is no individual, no corporation, no rational corporation, no economic actor that would loan money forever for 3% interest when inflation is running double or triple that. So the question is, who would? And the answer is a bureaucrat, either a governmental bureaucrat, someone that is coerced by regulatory policy where they're forced to. For example, a bank can't buy Bitcoin, but a bank is almost obligated to buy treasuries. Right? So the politicians create a set of rules that strongly encourage you to do certain things and strongly discourage you to do other things. And generally, they encourage you to do the thing which is probably least economically viable.
I'm going fishing piece.
But there are probably local organizations and banks in foreign countries that own their own local currency, right?
Why can't you take us with you on your phone while you're fishing?
An African currency with inflation rate of 200% a year? No, but people do. Why? Because the government controls or owns the entity, and so they force that. So,
just to finish this topic before we move on. When you said
Dave
all
C.
these guys
fishing.
are given,
Not
money
me too
for
hot,
3%
LOL.
over 30 years or whatever, there's a lot of them. Silicon Valley Bank's not the only one. Signature's not the only. There's a lot of these guys that are doing it.
most of the banks.
Most of the banks are doing it.
We looked at the chart. Remember that chart?
Exactly. 64% who was above
And
it.
then J.P. Morgan was the low guy.
14%
So the point is, don't trust your
going to
money in
learn
any
more about
bank
it.
that's basically betting it on irrational investments.
You say something like that as a guy that's a billionaire. The average guy's not a billionaire. The only thing they know what to do is walk up to the bank.
So, is it too hot for a fish to bite? Maybe he's going for a different kind of fish. What kind of fish are you going for? Maybe he's going saltwater fishing. If it's hot outside, fish don't like to bite when it's hot. Can you find like a big tree or something where it's real cool and shaded? Will they be eating like under that tree and shit? I wonder.
Dave C. Fishing. Yeah, salt water is good anytime, really.
I wonder where. Oh, he may have already left. I think he left. That's cool, man. This was interesting. All right, y'all. Well,
Dave C. Fishing.
It's live.
The sun blinds them, yes, trees, lily pads.
The question I want to ask you is the following. Are you saying there's going to be bigger banks that are on the line right now that we could see popping up, that they're in the same situation? Because if most of them are doing it, you know, Powell's not lowering rates, and they're saying he's not going to do it till December. So how much longer can these guys handle these types of conditions?
Pepe's at 6.5.
Let me just answer two
Let me
questions.
see where
What do I
it
think
is.
will happen to the banking system, and what do I think a person should do? What I think happens to the banking system is all of the regional banks, you know, the small, mid-sized banks are at a massive disadvantage right now because the government is showing that they're not going to bail out those equity holders. So there's a migration of deposits from the small banks to the big banks. You know, I think the JP Morgans, the Bank of Americas, the mega banks will continue. They'll be just fine. They'll be supported by the government. The small banks are going to struggle, and that's what you see going on right now. If you're a depositor, I mean, you'll probably get bailed out by the government. If you're a bond holder in the bank or an equity holder at the bank, you won't get bailed out, right? And so there's a crisis for investors, whereas everybody that's a depositor doesn't want to sit around and take the risk, right? I mean, who wants any anxiety? So I think that to the extent that you rely on banks, clearly the world is waking up, and the U.S. is waking up, and they're thinking, I want to be with big banks. I wouldn't have my money in a bank anywhere outside the U.S. in a weak country, right? You need to be in a rich, strong country with a rich, strong bank. With regard to what individuals should do, I think the logical answer is for expenses. If you have expenses in the next 3 months, you have your expenses in the local currency, which is the peso, the Naira, the whatever, because it's legally obligated for you to pay in the local currency. For the next 3 years of expenses, or 1 to 3 years of expenses, you put your wealth in the strongest world currency in the world. That's the dollar right now, but you make sure that you have that currency either self-custodied or you have it in a bank that you trust. That's hard. If you can't find a bank, if you were in Lebanon right now...
Can we trust you, bank?
If you were in Lebanon right now, you wouldn't put your money in any bank. You would actually put it on the Bitcoin blockchain. For any amount of money you want to keep the rest of your life, if you want to give it to your kids, if you want to actually retire on it, anything that's investable asset, you would put it in Bitcoin. You would put it in the strongest possible world currency, the global money.
Hey gang.
And that's Bitcoin. You're not going to get rich investing in dollars. And you'll lose all your money if your dollars are in a weak bank, and if your dollars in a strong bank, you'll just get poor slowly. And you're going to get poor. You're going to get poor rapidly if your money is in not the dollar but a weaker currency, and you're going to get completely bankrupt if you trust a weak bank. And so MicroStrategy, by the way, we had like $90 million. We had $4+ billion worth of Bitcoin. So go figure, right? 98% of our assets are actually in the strong money. 2% is in the world's strongest currency in a good bank, in one of the big 4 banks, right? And that's about as much exposure as I want to a currency.
Mm-hmm. Mike, you're obviously a true believer when it comes to Bitcoin, no doubt. How much of it, the fact that we live in Miami and we see people fleeing Venezuela, Argentina, moving their money here, getting out of Brazil, getting out of Cuba, you know, it's all South America moving to Miami, as well as all around the world. But how much of that helps, I guess, codify your ideology on Bitcoin? Or you're 100% anyway, and this just sort of reaffirms everything you believe when you see these people moving here?
You know, you need this near-death experience, this mortality event, before you will open your mind to embrace a new idea. You know, and if you live in Argentina, when you talk to Argentines, they say, my family has been completely bankrupted twice in the past 30 years. Okay, so in South America, if you live in Venezuela, well, they've all been bankrupted twice in 10 to 15 years. If you live in Brazil right now, I think the interest rate's getting approaching 14%, right? Money is hard to come by. And if you live in Africa, the Africans live under the CFA, colonial franc, where they lose half their money every time they change currencies, and it's not convertible. And if you lived in Nigeria, you know, you just you wake up one day and the bank says you're only allowed to have $42 a day. And if you live in India, that you know, you wake up one day, this press release that says all rupee notes of 10,000 rupees or whatever above are now illegal, and you have to turn them all in the next 48 hours, or else they're null and void, and someone just invalidates the currency. If you lived in Russia in 1998, all the banks failed, and the ruble went to zero, and everybody lost everything. So I think that that people that live in other jurisdictions, if they've ever been completely bankrupt or seen their economy completely collapse, Sri Lanka, another good example, when that happens, then when someone says, okay, well, here's a bank in cyberspace and an asset that no one can meddle with and no one can corrupt or tamper with, you think, well, tell me more about that. But if you're a wealthy American, if you're Warren Buffett, you know, we have a very famous example, a video that's gone viral on Twitter. A 13-year-old girl says to Warren Buffett, I'm really worried about the U.S. dollar as the reserve currency of the world. We're printing lots and lots of dollars, and if we're not the reserve currency, the value of the dollar is going to collapse. We're going to have hyperinflation. What should I do, Mr. Buffett? You know, and I wouldn't normally criticize, you know, a respected, successful business person of his age. But he and Charlie Munger did choose to go up on stage and answer questions and give financial guidance and advice and investment advice, and they are looked up to. And so you watch Warren Buffett answer the question, and his answer is, well, yeah, I mean, I guess the Fed inflated the money, but they needed to. And, you know, it's really difficult, you know, and politics have a difficult problem. And yeah, you're right, it is a problem. And Munger will say, you know, the dollar's going to zero. It's going to zero. They know it's a problem. And then he kind of meanders through it with an end advice, which is, well, you know, I don't know, but, you know, America's a great country. Don't bet against America. But the blood-curdling, terrifying, you know, depressing, you know, takeaway from the clip is the 13-year-old girl knows what the problem is. The country's full of people that can articulate the problem and write 1,000-page books on the problem. If you're rich in America, you don't have the answer because you're too comfortable, right? And so what you've got is a bunch of mega billionaires that are very successful in America, but they don't have an answer or solution to the 13-year-old girl. The solution to the question was Bitcoin, right? And Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger can't allow themselves to understand that because they're so successful, they don't need to open their mind to and embrace a new idea. If Warren Buffett woke up tomorrow and his bank seized all of his assets and they were devalued to zero,
double bottom, guys,
and he was a pauper, and his neighbor, the Uber driver, was walking around with $100,000 worth of Bitcoin on a hardware wallet, Warren would say, what is that again? Explain that to me.
Yeah.
What do you mean? My government, my bank can't steal all my money? That's a pretty good idea, right? And so I think that when you're a refugee from fleeing Iraq or you're crossing the border, and, you know, when you try to go through an airport and a hostile regime steals all your money and seizes all your gold, when you have to flee your 1,000-acre or 10,000-acre farm in Africa because a hostile regime decided it was illegal for people like you to own land, when that happens, you become a believer in a non-sovereign store of value crypto asset network, which is what Bitcoin is. the people that came to this country, the Huguenots, you know, the settlers, the colonists, I think they understood it. I mean, they had all their property seized from them from wherever they came from. And their idea was, here's a place where I can own something and people might not steal it from me. As soon as they got here, people started trying to steal it from them again, right? That's the human condition.
Just slower.
Just slower. But that's why they kept going west. It's like, I got to go west where there's no politicians to steal it from me, right? And that's a pretty powerful driver. So I think that the conclusion is, people that are comfortable, they're fat, dumb, and happy in the United States are going to continue to reject new ideas.
Johnny's military service.
Crypto assets
so
like
Buffet
Bitcoin.
was supposed to advise the 13-year-old girl to buy Bitcoin?
If I don't have to embrace a new idea...
That was the answer to the question.
When I get to a certain age, I won't. And that is as old as the Thomas Kuhn structure of scientific revolution. He said paradigm shifts only get embraced in times of war or when the old guard dies. If you want to introduce a new idea, you need a war. Wars kind of work, because if we're fighting a war and I introduce an airplane and I drop a nuclear bomb on your head, then you stop rejecting air power and you stop rejecting atomic weapons. You embrace the reality that, yeah, they do work, and maybe you need to figure it out. Wars work, but absent a war, people just have to, they just have to pass on because they're not going to embrace the new idea.
So you talked about Charlie Munger, and Charlie Munger gave the famous rat poison speech, right? He actually gave 2 speeches. In the second one, he said, no, I didn't say it was poison. I said it was rat poison. So you're saying that he's in the middle of the system. Was he disingenuous? Was he dishonest? Or was he mistaken?
If you don't spend... First, you have to have an open mind and say, is it possible that this works? And then second, you have to spend somewhere around 10 hours to understand it. I just don't think he has an open mind, and I don't think he spent 10 hours. Right? I mean, it's not uncommon, right? People in their 80s and their 90s don't generally embrace the wonder that is the Unreal Engine or TikTok or Alibaba.
90s.
Right? So I wouldn't. Again, if they were private citizens, I don't criticize private 80 and 90-year-olds, octogenarians and the like. For not embracing the new cool thing, right? They don't have to like. Obvious, right? You don't have to like drone races. My father doesn't have to like drone races in his 80s. That's fine. But the point is,
my mom likes drone
if you're going to tell people how to invest hundreds of billions of dollars or trillions of dollars, and you're going to give advice to a 13-year-old about how she can not be poor or not starve to death. I think that then you have to actually study these things. And the elephant in the room is everybody in the world is facing inflation. Everyone in the world is facing counterparty risk. Everywhere in the world we're losing faith in governments, banks, and currencies. The solution is a bank that isn't run by people, that isn't subject to the whim of a government, that is incorruptible, that allows you to be your own bank. Right, and that is a message that's getting out. We just need to keep beating the drum on that. It is, I think, the most important economic opportunity / issue / technology of our time.
I got a question for you. A guy here asked a question, but for
Johnny's
me,
military service.
Go through this and then I'll go
Our
to this,
parents like
super
to
chat.
watch the submarine races.
What percentage, if we were to break down the amount of content you consume, okay, percentage-wise, in the last 12 months, okay, what percentage of your research and reading is the market, like the whole market? What percentage is purely crypto? What percentage is politics? If you were to break that down, 40% of what I consume is this, 20% is this, 10% is this.
I would say something like a quarter is politics and a quarter is macroeconomics, and a quarter is the crypto economy and Bitcoin related things in the crypto economy, and the last 25% is
my envelope watching paint dry.
MicroStrategy, business activity, our capital operations, capital market structures, and our strategic initiatives.
So there's nothing that is more than the other. You're evenly split amongst the four. Very interesting how you do that.
I would say I'm evenly split amongst the four. Yeah. I'm quite aware that my impact is at the MicroStrategy level. I get to decide, whether we're going to pay off a $205 million loan or not, right? I get to decide whether we're going to issue $1 billion of equity or not. And I get, so I have an impact over
that vocal fry
what MicroStrategy is doing as the chairman of MicroStrategy, and I have a responsibility to my employees, my shareholders, and the like. So a lot of my work is there. And then I have the ability to have an impact and a need to be engaged in the crypto economy. So I'm spending a lot of time on Bitcoin education, Lightning, development of Bitcoin applications on the Lightning Network, those sort of things, right? That's where I can have an impact. In the macro economy, I study it because I want to know what's going on with China and Russia and interest rates and hyperinflation in Argentina. But I don't, I have no belief that I'm going to be able to control that, right? Like, I don't pretend to be able to direct Argentine macroeconomic policy. And with regard to politics in general, you got to pay attention to what's going on with, the Tucker Carlsons of the world, and you got to pay attention to the presidential race and the politics, the Senate and Congress, and the regulatory activities. But it's above my pay grade, right? There's 100 things that are going on in the political sphere. And
when you say above my pay grade, I don't have control over it, is what you mean.
I don't have control over it. B, my opinion is not welcomed, right? C, I don't have credibility, right? I'm not going to express strongly held opinions on medical policy or interest rate policy or the like because it is distracting. And so I think you have to study it.
Yeah.
And I have to know where the wind is going. Right? For example, there are some countries I would not live in right now. I'm not going to tell you which ones. I'm just not going. There are some places I would not go, right? So
you mean countries that people you would assume are safe to live in?
Why wouldn't you?
Traditionally,
look. There's a war going on in the Ukraine, right?
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
I mean, do you pay attention? You pay attention, right? There are places I wouldn't make an investment.
Sure.
There are places I would not go. There are places I would not live, right? But if you look at my Twitter profile, I have laser eyes. And the significance of laser eyes is if you want to make progress in this world, you have to focus and channel all of the energy you have behind a very, very particular objective. And I have one laser-like focus, right? Bitcoin is good money, right? Bitcoin is good for the world. Bitcoin is global freedom, global property rights.
Interesting.
Right? Like, I have 100 other opinions, but if I actually filled my feed with here's what I think about bicycles, and here's what I think about diets, and here's what I think about health, and here's what I think about, labor policy, and here's what I think about states' rights, and here's what I think about this country, at some point, you just dilute your focus.
Let's refresh the 106,629 and see how many holders there are of Pepe now. 106,629.
And you don't have that much energy in this life.
Well, we really brought you today to talk about what your thoughts were on a plant-based diet, because I know you've been researching that for
Two more holders.
Obviously joking with you, but
I understand my point. I could talk for an hour about it, but
it's good. It's going up instead of going down.
I'm not going to change anybody else's deeply held opinion on plant-based diets.
What sources do you go to when you say you're researching? What do you read? Are you a zero hedge guy? Are you a Wall Street Journal? What do you read?
I'm scanning everything on Bloomberg News. I'm scanning everything on the Wall Street Journal homepage. I'm scanning the news feeds on anything related to Bitcoin. I'm scanning, the major papers, the New York Times, to see what they're thinking. I'm scanning Twitter.
What they're thinking?
It's useful to know what they print, right? On the
New York Times thinking, like they do a lot of. So
yeah, we could go there.
Yeah,
but
I don't think you could use thinking in New York Times in the same
the
sentence.
point is what's on the front page? Like what is the narrative on the front page?
Yeah.
What is on the front page of the Wall
What's
Street?
a paper what's a paper you read that's like not a common paper? Is there
from the
some
Discord.
site or a journalist you trust, somebody that writes that you follow, an expert?
I don't think you could in good faith endorse any one news outlet in the modern world. I think you have to scan everything, and you have to consider what's statistically significant. And of course, what you find in the news media is oftentimes, if 92% of the people are dying of natural causes, 95% of the bandwidth, it bleeds, it leads. 95% of the bandwidth is the most colorful way to die, right? It's not the most likely way to die. It's the most colorful way to die. And so I think that all media is distorted, and they're all edited, and they're all focused to a certain agenda. The only thing you can reasonably do is you can scan a bunch of them. You can scan, your own Twitter feed will also be distorted, so you have to scan other feeds. And then you have to be continually going through this exercise in your head of saying, that happened, is it true? And then how significant is it? For example, Argentine inflation, 105%, is it true? No. Because the actual inflation rate is higher. It's indicative of a truth. How significant is it? Well, how many people live in Argentina? That's one level of significance. The second is how much money's in Argentina. And the third level of significance is how symbolic or how indicative or catalytic is it to other activity that will happen in the rest of the world, right? How symbolic is it? So I think that I'm in my 50s. I'm 58.
It weighs less.
If February 4th, by the way.
February 4th.
Same birthday as me. That's why I like.
If you roll the clock back and you read the same newspaper in your teens, you'll interpret something different. If you read news in your 20s, it's different. In your 30s, it's different. In your 40s, it's different.
Powerful.
When you get to your 50s, if you read the same history book and you're reading it in your 50s, like, wow, I totally interpreted this differently when I was a ninth grader. Right? When I was in college, I interpreted this differently. So you have to have real world experience. Oftentimes, you'll read a story and they'll state something, and the truth is the exact opposite of what the story is. But you have to have lived life. Like, for example, you read a headline, we found 500 stone axes in a cave in Africa. They're between 1.2 and 1.7 million years old. Well, a school kid will say, oh yeah, so I guess they found some stone axes. I look at that and I say, well, there was a factory that made stone axes in Africa 1.7 million years ago. That meant that there was demand for thousands of stone axes a year. That meant that there was an entire civilization that existed, right? In fact, there was money. There was a government, there was a furniture factory, there was a clothing factory, there was agriculture, there was an entire society. You had to have 10,000 people all working together in coordination to justify having an inventory of 500 stone axes. Right? And the only reason you actually read about the stone axes is stone axes is the only thing that's going to last 1 million years from now. Right? And so what was there was 1,000x more interesting. The fact is, there was an interesting higher level civilization with agriculture 1.5 million years ago. They're not writing that in the history book because the literal historian only wants to report the bare minimum.
They dry out inside or outside. They don't have to be in the sun.
I could actually tell you
all the water will eventually
1,000 other things is that I actually read books on Austrian economics. I ran a business. I traded. I saw the meltdown and the creation of dozens of industries, and I understand human nature.
That was a while back,
right? And so if you understand, and you live the life, you're like, well, if I drink cartons of orange juice every day for months in a row,
look at this guy right here.
I know what's going to happen to me. It's not good. you can reverse that, right? And you can figure out what people ate 100,000 years ago. You know, they didn't do the things
it's rising
that we don't
with the
really
market,
think
guys.
of good ideas today because they wouldn't have procreated through 100,000 generations. So I think that when you read the news in your 50s, if you've lived a life,
let's see if the amount of holders has gone up.
A lot of things I interpret are because I ran a company for 30 years. You know, like, for example,
637.
You know, like a teenager.
It's a small amount.
If you look at movies created by people in their 20s,
it's so
they have
crazy.
this
You
view
can
of
literally
business
see
people.
this
Like
on Etherscan.
the badass billionaire business guy walks in and he tells everybody what to think, and they, you know, and he's the evil Dr. Evil genius. But if you've actually run a business, you know, I remember back last time I told somebody what to think, and they told me to go F myself. Right? And then, you know, and
you are dressed in black. You know, you're.
And now I have a meeting, and I'm very polite. You know, like, and the more talented you are, the more polite I am. You know, because I realize that the world will go on without me. Like those people think, oh yeah, well I got to work for the man. Well, no, you don't. I have 2,000 people in my company right now. I have hired 30,000 people. They don't have to work for the man, right? The truth is,
unbelievable point.
You know, you hire people, you realize that they will quit if they don't like.
The CEO gets fired more often than employees do.
Yeah, I lost 27,500 employees, right? So you think I take them for granted?
Yeah.
But you have, but I didn't. When I was 24.
Michael, what a perspective.
The time when you are most confident, when you have the most amount of formal education and the least amount of real-world experience, like in your early 20s, right? Because you think you can do it better than everybody else, and you haven't failed. And when you get another 25 years out, you're like, oh, I tried that didn't work. I tried that didn't work. I tried that didn't work. Oh yeah, that was a really good employee, but they quit because I was rude to them. Oops, I wish I hadn't done that.
But the market's changing, guys.
I guess
everything's
I'm
going up
coming
now.
back
It's
to your
good.
question. What do I think about the news? It's like,
can you give us one name, one source? Like,
Pepe's at 7.1% negative.
One everybody
at the very
is
bottom.
To. Any person, I know it's not 100%
Is Pepe going to skyrocket
trust,
when the market starts going
give
up?
us one source.
No, I think to
tweeted
give
a
a
Pepe
boost to Twitter
flag.
and Elon Musk, the boost is
Hopefully
there
some
are
people will retweet
analysts
that
and there
on
are
my
domain
Twitter. I would
experts
love if
on
you guys
Twitter
would just retweet
that don't have
the Pepe.
corporations, that don't have lawyers to tell them they're not
Because-
allowed to say that thing, and they actually
I'll
say
say it
the
again.
truth.
Can you give us their
Both Lark Davis and the Crypto Kid have said that Pepe has died completely, that it's over. And I'm like, fuck you guys.
names? A couple of them. Michael, I'm going to hold you to give us one name.
No.
Give us one
Now
name.
it's a negative
Follow me on
6. Oh,
Twitter. I mean,
wait.
you can look at all the
It's
people.
negative
I follow
4.71,
about 600
Pepe.
people on
Okay, so
Twitter.
It's
then
running
follow
up.
the people
You
you're
guys
following.
look.
There are honest
no longer at the bottom.
analysts,
Here
and
it
there
is.
are people that are domain experts, and they publish their
Pepe,
unadulterated thoughts. And
Pepe,
if you actually put together a mosaic of all
Pepe,
those things with your own
4.6
real-world
negative.
experience, you'll start to
Where'd it go?
synthesize a view of
Oh,
reality,
4.9.
which is, I think, probably
no.
more reliable than
Go back to our Pepe
any
tracker.
one,
Pepe
you
tracker.
know,
Pepe tracker.
edited
1981. That was a good year.
Somebody just
1981.
gave a $500 super chat and asked this question.
Ronald
Said, have
Reagan.
more
I don't know.
people been
67.
hacked owning
That was a great
Bitcoin
year.
than
81.
banks
Better.
have failed.
Bitcoin's never been
This is
hacked.
John Coaster.
106.
Bitcoin's never been hacked.
106. 637.
So the only people that suffer with Bitcoin are people that trust their Bitcoin
106,
to the Sam Bankman-Frieds of the world.
637.
If you put your Bitcoin in
One more now.
Celsius or
106,
BlockFi or FTX, if you put it in in
1980.
a Wildcat bank and the bank steals your money, right?
1981.
The real message of Bitcoiners is don't trust,
1980.
verify, and be your own bank, and not your keys, not your coins. So the message of Bitcoin is you can't trust anybody. If I actually told you the world is made up of imperfect people, and let's say there's 100 families, and
That
we all
percentage
have money,
is
and
really
none
helpful
of us
knowing
trust each
the
other, and we
percentage
all
of
know we
holders has
have
gone
idiot
up.
kids that are going to take over the family business in time, and we want to create a community bank where we can collectively put our money. The answer would be, well, you don't put anybody in charge of it. You don't put any one family in charge of it. You might be the smartest amongst us, and your son's going to have an idiot son, and eventually 3 generations down the road, it's not going to work anymore. So you write a piece of software, Everybody checks the software. We all agree the software is honest. We put the software on a computer. Nobody trusts your computer. We create 100 computers. Everybody runs their own computer with the software. We all agree collectively not to change the software. And anybody that tries to change the software gets kicked out of the network. That's what Bitcoin is. It's an honest approach to solve a problem when you can't rely on a person, you can't rely on a family, you can't rely on an institution, you can't rely on a government. What we rely on is the collective self-interest of rational people over time with regard to that one thing. And it really is a beautiful invention.
How monumental will the Bitcoin halving be? I think it's expected in April of 2024, so
on our list.
In a little less than a year.
-3.
How big of a deal is that?
2.95 now on our list,
to the
guys.
upside. Clearly,
Let's
I mean,
watch
the amount
Pepe
of
go to the top,
Bitcoin
shall we?
The miners receiving a reward they might sell will be cut in half. So that's a good thing.
Pepe's right here.
But I would say that any rational person that studied Bitcoin for 10 hours knows that
it's
there
going
will
to go all
never
the way
be
to
more
the
than
top,
21
guys.
million Bitcoin.
2.9.
And so you know there's less than that because some millions of Bitcoin have
2.68.
been lost.
We're going to have to
and
scroll
they'll
up a
never be
little
spent.
bit.
And so you're buying Bitcoin because you know it's capped.
2.69.
And you know that gold and silver and oil and soybeans and paper currency and
2.8.
land and apartments are not capped. Everything else on
2.9.
Earth is going to keep increasing in supply forever. Bitcoin is
2.8.
not. So once you figure that out, then the only question is there anything better? And you sift through the other 20,000 cryptos, and if they're not better and they're not better, then this is the one. Now, every intelligent person with money has put their money on Bitcoin. So what are you going to bet on? You're going to bet on the networks that were invested in by people without money that aren't intelligent? Right? So Bitcoin is the winner because the smart money has chosen
82.
it. There are a lot of other catalysts,
84.
right? Every time there's hyperinflation in a
97.
place like Argentina, it's a catalyst. Every time a bank fails, it's a
319.
catalyst. Every time someone builds an application that's cool on Bitcoin, right? Like all the ordinals and
316.
inscriptions and whatever, they're driving up transaction fees. It's a catalyst. Every time a company like
291.
MicroStrategy buys another $100 million worth of Bitcoin, it's a catalyst. Every time a regulator actually clarifies the fact that Bitcoin is a commodity, an asset without an issuer, and it's special, that's a
3.79.
catalyst. So
3.8,
lots
not
of
good.
catalysts. They're all going to continue. The result will be Bitcoin will chop its way up with volatility forever. Just going to keep grinding up. Because for you to believe Bitcoin's going to grind up, all you got to believe is that human beings have a natural tendency to want to improve their life
4.24.
and protect their property and
Check our holders.
benefit their friends and family.
Somebody gave
106,
$2 billion
638.
Zimbabwe super chat. It's actually 540.
2 nickels.
106,
It's actually
638, right?
$540.
Let's see what happens.
Michael,
There you go.
can you give us your take on ordinals, TXN fees on Bitcoin?
Hey, 10 more
on
people are
BTC
holding
currently
Pepe.
higher than
Yay.
any point in the last
Welcome.
3 years, and we are seeing
Welcome, new Pepe
use
friends.
cases
Friends
like
of
NFTs
Pepe.
on BTC main chain. Will this shift
1990.
developers from Ethereum to Bitcoin? Is Saylor pro or anti-ordinal? This is from an Assyrian brother, Ninos and Ninor. So what are your thoughts on this?
My boys. Ninos.
Okay, so Saylor is pro-freedom and pro-markets. And Saylor he's an Austrian economist, so all value is subjective. So here's what I think. I think everybody should be able to launch whatever business they want to launch.
420, Pepe, negative 420. Oh,
everybody
boy.
should be able to
Oh, boy,
pursue,
negative 420. Oh, boy.
pursue their happiness however they want. And
Newfoundland
I think
420
that
right
lots
now.
of people will create lots of things that won't work. So I'm not going to give you a recommendation of stocks because some businesses will work, some won't, and some stocks you will buy too high and some you will not, and I don't want to be on the hook for 10,000 stocks. I'm not going to tell you how to gamble, but I'm not going to tell you not to. I'm not going to give you a recommendation for a private business. You want to collect art? I'm not going to tell you not to. I'm just not going to tell you which piece of art to buy to make money. I don't know which thing is going to work, and I know that over time all fiat currencies will fail, and over time I believe most businesses, in fact all businesses, will not be as good as investing in Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the low risk asset. I do think that what happened over the past 5 months is pretty interesting. If you go to New Year's Eve, the average fee on the Bitcoin blockchain was like 3 sats per V-byte. I mean, there were blocks every 10 minutes that had $600 of transaction fees in them, right? And so the miners were getting a reward of $100,000 with $600 or $300 of fees. So the fees were 1% of the reward. Yeah. They were nothing, de minimis. and what happened over 5 months is Bitcoin had a massive rally. All of a sudden, the miners were getting $150,000 or $200,000 reward.
We gotta wait for some movement here.
We saw fees, transaction fees that got to more than 6 Bitcoin, which was $180,000 in fees. So we went from $1,000 in fees to $100,000 in fees, a factor of 100 increase. And the fees started to approach parity with the reward. If you're an investor in Bitcoin mining, if you're a Bitcoin miner and you want a bullish thesis, in order to have a bullish thesis, you want to see that fees, transaction fees, are at parity with the rewards, and you want to have a belief that transaction fees will increase at a rate faster than the hash rate. So if the hash rate's going up 20% a year and transaction fees are going up 30% a year, then that's a good business, a really good business. And so in a world where transaction fees are 1%, they're irrelevant. You don't have parity, and then the growth rate doesn't matter. And then all you see is the rewards are decreasing 18% a year.
Is he blaming?
And that's a bearish scenario. So I think that what happened with ordinals and NFTs is we crossed this chasm from what was a bearish scenario to a bullish scenario. If I was a miner, I would be ecstatic. I think that long-term, there are a lot of implications. Long-term, the implication is there's going to be a lot of applications on the Bitcoin base layer. You know, if I can inscribe a piece of art, right, an NFT is kind of an art, but I could also inscribe my last will and testament, and if my last will and testament is moving $1 billion from me to you, how much is it worth to you to have that burned onto the blockchain and cryptographically verified?
Yeah, at least $1 billion for me, Michael.
Would you pay $20?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Would you pay $100?
6.15.
There you go. So there are interesting applications. If I have a corporate resolution to make $1 billion investment and I DocuSign it, and I'm worried about getting sued for hundreds of millions of dollars in the future, would I pay $100 to burn that on the blockchain? Maybe, probably. If I have a message I want to send around the world and I don't want a hostile nation state to interfere with that message, is that worth $20 or $50? Sure it is. So what people are realizing is the transactions on the blockchain, they are the ability to send a message that a nation state can't stop. Their ability to put a document on a network for 100 years that no one can actually tamper, an immutable blockchain. I mean, if I can store $1 billion for 100 years, that's valuable. But you know, if you wanted to move $10 million of oil from New York to London, it would cost you about $350,000. So what if I want to move $10 million of Bitcoin from New York to London? What if I want to move $10 million worth of a document of something of, if you wanted to sell a $10 million work of art, that's $500,000 to $1 million or more in auction fees. Mm-hmm. So people have thought, well, transactions, man, there's no future for them. But I actually am of the opinion that transactions at $1 or $2 a transaction, they're very undervalued. This is the most valuable, most tamper-proof, immutable, secure transaction network in the world. If I gave you $100 billion and I said attack the network, you couldn't do it. If you were a nation with $100 billion and 4 years, you could slow it down, but you couldn't stop it. So I think that the real significance of ordinals and NFTs and inscriptions is people used to take the transactions for granted, and they undervalued the Bitcoin mining network. And now I think what you have is a lot of speculation, and you also have you have a migration of crypto development energy from the other cryptos to Bitcoin. That's a good thing, I think. It's inevitable because Bitcoin is the low-risk crypto network and the high-security crypto network. So you're going to see speculation move. You're going to see development move. But long-term, what's really significant here is that people are going to see Bitcoin as the most secure cyber network or the most secure computer network in the world. And if I told you I'm going to burn a document and I want it to stay immutable for 100 years, and I don't want any hostile corporation or nation state or actor to be able to tamper with it or stop it, and in 100 years I want to prove that that's my document. You know, Satoshi could sign a digital document. He could sign a message today and prove that he owns $30 billion of Bitcoin, and he could do it in a split second. That's the power of the Bitcoin network, and that has been under-realized. It's underestimated. So I think that what's going to go right now is it's going to be a lot of excitement, but ultimately the ethically sound, technically sound, economically sound future is for people to realize that Bitcoin is this immutable, incorruptible, non-sovereign computer network, and it's going to protect your money, but it's also going to protect your integrity, and people are going to pay money for truth on that network, and that's what's going to finance those miners. And when you look at all those miners running in Texas, you're saying, what are they doing? They're protecting the integrity of Western civilization, they're protecting the integrity of the human race for the next 1,000 years.
Michael,
that's worth something.
That's powerful. We got 5 minutes, and I want to go through two things with you. One, you said Satoshi. How often do you guys text each other? Are you guys in communication regularly, or is he?
I think about Satoshi every day.
Really?
Does he think about you? Is there like a direct line of community? Because you're becoming gradually the Billy Graham of Bitcoin. You went from a non-believer to a believer.
It was a one-way gift. The reason that Bitcoin is ethical is Satoshi made a one-way gift to the human race, asking nothing in return, and that is an extraordinary
So as a guy that you said you hired 30,000 employees, 2,000 are still with you. You've been operating for 30 years, okay? You've been a billionaire for a minute. You were a billionaire in the late 90s, and you've been in that talks. For you, it's probably not a big deal because you've been that for a while. But to the average person to see that category where there's only 700 to 900 of you in America, it's a pretty big deal to get to a place like that. There's a guy right now that could be potentially looking for another job, and he was being interviewed on MSNBC by this lady named Stephanie Rule, and he was asked the question, I'm curious to know if you would hire somebody like this. This is a phenomenal question here.
There's not a Fortune 500 company in the world looking to hire a CEO in his 80s. So why would an 82-year-old Joe Biden be the right person for the most important job in the world?
Because I've acquired a hell of a lot of wisdom. I know more than the vast majority of people. I'm more experienced than anybody's ever run for the office. And I think I've proven myself to be honorable as well as also effective.
Would you hire somebody like that to run a $4 or $5 trillion a year company, whatever the number is, $32 trillion company, give or take? I could be off on the GDP. Do you think that would be a good CEO for
and he had a successor?
Now you're asking me a question that's somewhat above my pay grade. I think that...
Wait, you're a voter.
Tom, let's see what he's got to say.
I think that the number one criteria to run an organization, is humility combined with a bit of wisdom.
He has no humility.
From life
Joe
experience,
Biden has
but combined with an extraordinary amount of energy. You have to eat, sleep, and breathe the thing. And I think that organizations that have
doesn't count if you've forgotten everything.
Tend to go off the rails, and so it's good to know what you don't know.
Got it. So to understand what you meant, we have to speak sign language. So he left it to you guys. You decide what our friend here meant by that. But just for your own company, if you were getting to a point where you would be replacing yourself as a CEO, would you look at somebody and value a person with, who's 82 years old wanting to be the CEO of MicroStrategy, or would you look for somebody younger? Or would it even matter to you age-wise?
Well, I did have the opportunity to replace myself last year, and I'm the executive chairman, and we appointed a new CEO, and the CEO is Phong Le, and he's
in his 90s.
He's in his 40s.
Okay, he's in his 40s.
Early 40s.
So you weren't going on like seniorceos.com and looking for recruiters to find that's not even seniors, right? Because baby boomers, 1946 to 64.
So you weren't interested in experience?
I'm not going to say the perfect age to be CEO, because there are a lot of examples. I myself appointed myself CEO at age 24, but then again, I was only responsible for myself. And I couldn't mess much up.
That's different,
because I inherited, and it took me many, many years to get to the point where I could break something. Well, I think that the bigger the organization, the more careful one needs to be.
This is a pretty big organization we're talking about, and this guy's applying for that job.
300 million.
Anyway, so Michael, every time you come, by the time you're done talking, my brain feels like has had a 4-hour workout, even though it was only 90 minutes today. Because you make me think, and I love the way you explain, and you're always gathering information from different places, and the audience loves this. So this is, I think you're one of only 3 or 4 names that we've had on 3 times. So if you've never felt like, maybe if you recently have not been getting enough love, we just want to make sure we love Michael Saylor, the Billy Graham of Bitcoin. That's going to be the new nickname, by the way.
The evangelist.
The evangelist, the Billy Graham of Bitcoin, baptizing folks in Bitcoin around the world.
Okay, if you don't remember anything else I said today, just remember Bitcoin is hope. And go to hope.com. That's where all the information is.
Really?
Bitcoin good, laser eyes.
Bitcoin good.
You can boil it all down to that. Everything else is complicated.
And big week next week. The Miami Bitcoin conference is going to be
15,000 Cyber Hornets coming to Miami.
They'll all be right here.
It's going to be awesome.
You're going to baptize all of them in the name of Satoshi, Bitcoin, and what would be the third? There's got to be the technology, right? Anyways, Michael, once again, thank you. Gang, all the stuff is below. Links, Rob, let's put it there for people to be able to find Michael. I asked him a question earlier about Michael. Who do you follow on social? What you read their articles? If you go follow his Twitter account, you'll be able to know who he follows. And that's where you'll see where he gets his intel from. Okay, maybe that's one way to find out who those 590 people are that Mr. Saylor follows. Anyways, gang, we're about to announce the next live podcast. If you want to be one of the first to know about it, text the word podcast to 310-340-1132. Again, 310-340-1132. Text the word podcast. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
Give me a little fucking plug at the end of the podcast there. Since I have 7 freaking viewers, big to the science. I'm going to watch that one later. "2023 recession." My response to the Eagles taking down my video.
Hey everyone, I hope you're doing great. I always try to keep things very positive on this channel because I know how toxic and divisive social media can be, and I don't want to add to that. I never try to
Welcome
cause
to my
drama
world,
except
bro.
as a joke when I'm about to do a battle with Burns or Davey. But in this case, my channel's being threatened, and since this is a problem that's affecting a lot of other YouTubers and musicians, and a problem that's growing at an alarming rate, I think I should say something. The other day I got my first ever copyright strike for my cover of Hotel California, which I played completely solo on fretless bass with no accompaniment. This means
it doesn't matter, dude. You didn't write the song, and the Eagles own the rights to it, and Don Henley wants to make money off of every single rendition of it. Since he wrote the goddamn song, he's got the right to do it, and you should learn what fucking copyright law is, bro. You should do a little bit more research. Don Henley has every right to do what he does. It's his song. He fucking wrote it. And guess what? You didn't. So go write your own fucking song and play it on your YouTube channel, pal. You know, or go learn the songs that you're not allowed to do that to. Eagles would be one of them, and we've talked about it multiple times on my little tiny channel, but you know, you got 1.5 million subscribers on your channel because YouTube is sucking your dick, and let me tell you something, they're not sucking mine. So people like you little cuck bitch, don't get to see my content that would have explained to you that YouTube doesn't allow fucking Don Henley's material on their fucking platform unless it's by Don Henley himself with his express written fucking permission. But, you know, you don't watch my fucking channel, dude. Mr. 1.5 fucking million subscribers. Fuck you. Just nobody listen
Dave
to him
C. Fishing.
cry like a little bitch. It's so funny. I want to keep listening to this guy cry like a little bitch. I really do.
That the video's been completely taken down from YouTube and no one can watch it. It also means my channel is one step closer to being deleted because copyright strikes.
Hey, dumbass, they don't delete channels, okay? They just remove your access from them. You fucking lying idiot. God, I hate these noobs, dude. You're a noob. 1.5 million subscribers and you don't even know how YouTube works.
Can be filed at any time, regardless of whether you released the video today or 10 years ago. I think this was a very bad decision for everyone involved, including the Eagles, but before I get into that, I want to explain the options that a band has when their song is covered on YouTube. Option 1, which is what the vast majority of artists choose, is to collect a share of the revenue from that cover.
That's fair.
YouTube has a system called Content ID, which
If
automatically
the
detects cover
copyright
songs.
holder
And in general, I would
allows
say the
for
system
that,
is pretty
and it's
effective,
their
but could
decision,
definitely use some
'cause it's
tweaking.
their
I have
material.
absolutely no problem sharing revenue with the songwriters or copyright owners, and that's the arrangement I have with every single other cover
It
song.
feels good and all that, but you have no right to it, you fucking cunt. You should just be happy you get what you get. You didn't write the fucking song, you prick.
That I
God,
have on
man.
YouTube. If you write a hit song and lots of people cover it, it makes sense that you should collect a share of the revenue. Option 2 is to completely demonetize the video but still allow people to watch it. This makes less sense to me because you're making sure that nobody gets any money, and the simple fact is that a lot of smaller upcoming artists need to play covers in order to get people's attention. This was just as true in the 60s.
Wow, what a fucking douchebag. He said that like it was a fact. It's not true at all. There's so many bands out there who've never played any other people's music at all, man. They don't do covers, and they don't need a cover to get attention just because you're a lame-ass bitch, and that's the only way you were able to get attention. Wow, let's see the way he said that like it was fact. Let's go back. That was so crazy. I hate this motherfucker. Listen to this.
This makes less sense to me because you're making sure that nobody gets any money, and the simple fact is that a lot of smaller upcoming artists need to play.
Oh, the simple fact is that artists need? Really? What is that? Science, douchebag? I don't know if I have anything else left to say to this guy. I have a feeling I'm going to disagree with every other piece of garbage that flies out of his mouth. But I don't know. Let's find out.
Covers.
Dude, I'm only a minute 36 seconds into this piece of garbage video. God, dude. Ugh. All right, let's keep going.
In order to get people's attention. This was just as true in the 60s for the Beatles as it is today. Upcoming artists...
Oh, yeah, it was just as true for the Beatles, everybody. The Beatles needed to do covers. They needed... Well, you know, they did some covers, absolutely. But the Beatles needed covers, says this cunt. The Beatles wouldn't have ever been anybody if they hadn't done other people's music, too. Wow. Wow.
Already have the odds stacked against them, and demonetizing their covers only serves to...
If you guys believe that, let me know in the chat.
Stifle the next generation of artists. And finally, we have option 3.
This is like this guy reminds me of that cuck that just got sued by Got to Give It Up, or Let's Get It On. I'm sorry, by the people who hold copyright to that. It reminds me of the same motherfucking, like he somehow deserves it, like he has some sort of entitlement to play the music that he didn't fucking write.
Completely take down the video and issue a copyright
And
strike.
hey, take it from someone like me that plays people's music, other people's music all the time. Take it from me. You know, I understand. I've been playing cover songs my whole fucking life. I don't do it for recognition. I do it because I like the songs and I like the way they fucking sound. It makes me happy
Ars
when I play
groovy.
the songs.
Young boy better.
which threatens the livelihood of the artist who covered the song and is what happened in this situation. It's extremely rare for this to happen because it's a lose-lose situation. What makes this especially perplexing is that my cover had already been identified by YouTube's Content ID system, which means I was sharing revenue with the Eagles. So their decision to remove my video has only resulted in the following effects. Neither of us make any more money from this video. Younger music fans who might not know the Eagles will not discover them through my cover video.
Yeah, oh, no one is, because they know me, but they've never heard of the Eagles. I'm the one who's telling them about this fucking narcissistic fucking cunt. Oh, I never heard of the Eagles
Bonsai
before.
House. Well, he's 12 years old. His brain is nourished by Yoo-hoo and fruit roll-ups.
I like the way sparkling earrings lay. Hey man, that little line right there is better than your whole existence will ever be. That one line, that one lyric.
Video. Existing fans of the Eagles won't get to watch an interesting new interpretation of their song, helping to perpetuate the song.
And maybe the Eagles don't want other people fucking interpreting their song in different ways. Maybe they think you suck dick. Maybe they listen to your interpretation, they go, you know what, that was fucking shit. Let's fucking sue this motherfucker.
Itself and the Eagles
maybe the
legacy.
fucking Don Henley
Other
didn't
artists
like
will be
you.
afraid to post Eagles covers, result
12.2 Pepe's way down.
In a loss of revenue for the Eagles and a loss of free promotion. I probably wouldn't even make this video if it were just affecting me, but this is a systemic issue that affects almost every YouTuber that I know.
Yeah, welcome to my fucking world, Mr. Goddamn 1.5 million followers, you fucking piece of shit.
Beato is constantly getting his What Makes This Song Great series blocked for playing snippets of the song that he's talking about.
Look, if he's talking about Eagles songs, you know, you can't do it. You got to find out who these bands are, and you have to adhere to them. Metallica is weird like that. Fucking Eagles is weird like that. Once you find out, you stay away from those songs. That's what's up. Or you talk about the songs and you don't play them.
He's literally telling his audience why this song is great and using it to educate people about music, and the artists of those songs are blocking his videos and giving him copyright strikes for playing the song that he's analyzing.
It doesn't matter, dude. That's how I don't care what fucking Nick Beato's purposes of the music. That's how copyright law works, you fucking dumb, ignorant cunt bitch.
Rick calls out the Eagles as being one of the worst offenders of blocking videos.
They are.
Guys like Don Henley, Don thinks that the Eagles, by him taking down everything that is put up by the Eagles, I want to do the Eagles. Let your music be played, Don.
Yes, I agree.
And the estate of Glenn Fry. I mean, come on.
Yes, I agree with what Rick Beato or Nick Beato is saying right here. I totally agree with him. And, you know, it's true. These guys should allow it. But the law, the way the law is, lets them do this. And that's the way the law is. So this is what you have to do. You have to learn their rules. You have to play by their rules. And then you have to beat them at their own game, like I do. You know, you could fuck up Hotel California and play it. You can. I do it. I do it sometimes. Just don't do it like fucking the Eagles did it. Your rendition better be way different. Interpretable by a fucking algorithm to send that over to the fucking Eagles. You do it like that, you got nothing to worry about. I've done it plenty of times. But you're too fucking much of an idiot to watch my channel to learn that shit, Mr. 1.5 fucking million subscribers. Bitch ass.
The Eagles were an amazingly great band. Why are you banning people from promoting your music, doing covers?
Because Don Henley sucks. Because they suck.
Metallica doesn't take stuff down. Metallica's great. The Eagles, everybody says has an Eagles story. I mean, that's just a fact.
Jared Dines, Two Set Violin, Ichikanito, Bradley Hall, Rudy Ayub, Shredmaster Scott, and Finn McKenty have all been victims of ridiculous copyright takedowns that threaten their abilities to sustain themselves as artists. Again, don't get me wrong, there are legitimate cases where people's videos should be taken down, like if they just post the song's original audio with no commentary, education, or transformational value. But that criteria doesn't apply to any of those YouTubers that I just mentioned. The music world has changed very dramatically in the last 20 years, and major bands and publishers need to become more aware of how things work now, because I genuinely believe they're shooting themselves in the foot as well as making things much harder for new artists.
Yeah, Don Henley's really suffering right now financially. Okay, Google. Don Henley, net worth.
According to Wikipedia, they have 3 children together, 2 daughters and a son. In 2012, Henley was estimated to be the 4th wealthiest drummer in the world, behind Ringo Starr, Phil Collins and Dave Grohl, with a $200 million fortune.
Oh yeah, he's really suffering right now, you dumb cunt. He really fucking cares what you think about his copyright shit. Right? He's worth 200 mil.
They're uploading videos constantly to social media, and one of the best ways to gain popularity.
Don Henley, you're really suffering now. You have to let my little bass player to 1 million watcher channel have more visibility on using your hard-earned work, and I'm going to rob it from you because I'm a fucking song-thieving fucking cunt that doesn't understand copyright law.
Is to let or even encourage people to cover your songs. This allows your music to spread to a wide audience in a very organic way that will gain you.
Are you telling Don Henley from the Eagles how to spread his music out? Really? This little bitch is gonna tell Don Henley. Ha! Oh God! Don Henley, bro! Don Henley, Afro fucking Don Henley, the drummer from the Eagles. He's going to tell Don Henley how to get his music out to more people. Oh my God, I've seen it all now. I'm so glad we made it this far into this pompous bitch's video. God, 1 minute left.
Far more die-hard fans than any sterile corporate marketing campaign. And because of systems like YouTube's Content ID, you're gifted a completely passive source of revenue. The cover artist makes money, they learn a lot about music through covering your song and getting feedback in the comments. The original artist makes money and you both gain popularity. It's a win for everyone. I wish I knew why they decided to take down this video, but there was no reason listed and I've had no response from either of the email addresses provided. So I'm hoping that maybe this video will get their attention and that they'll retract the copyright strike and put the video back up. The sad thing is that I really like the Eagles' music and I don't want to see them going down this path. They're an
oh yeah, he's really protecting the Eagles.
Incredibly
you just want to fucking steal their music.
Successful band who have had an amazing career. But you have to ask yourself, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Do you want to allow and encourage independent art?
I don't think they care while they're fucking sitting on their private islands drinking their fucking sipping their whatever the fucks. You know, sailing around on their goddamn yachts. I don't think they fucking care, dude.
Artists and amateur musicians who love your music.
People like you,
helping
people like you have glorified, put them up on pedestals just like you just did, you know, and paid exorbitant amounts of money to go see them in concert, buy their albums, you know, wear their fucking clothes, and you wonder why they walk around like they're fucking royalty and they won't let you have rights. You're part of the problem, dude.
Sure that it remains timeless, or do you want more and more videos calling you out for your draconian and unmusical approach? Because of this copyright strike, I'm questioning whether I can continue uploading the covers that I know you love, which is not the way things should be. One thing's for sure, I won't be uploading any more Eagles covers. Thanks for watching, please share this video to spread awareness.
Oh, cry more, dude. I said, write your own damn music, thief. You guys like that? Boom. Oh, and YouTube didn't ask me and say, hey, are you sure you want to send that? Because sometimes they do that. I don't care about meeting Donald Trump. Don't recommend this fucking channel. Fuck that shit. Hard Lens is live. DNC wants no debates. Of course they don't. Not even worth talking about. Politics isn't even worth talking about anymore. Amazon has gone too far. You'll own nothing. Alright, let's watch this one.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a lovely day. There's this common trend that's been becoming more and more common recently among more and more companies where you will purchase something that has a certain set of features advertised and they will take those features away after you have purchased a product. It's a bait and switch. And the reason this bait and switch is able to occur is because more and more products that we purchase nowadays require that you connect to that company's servers in order to get full functionality of the product. Some of the features that are advertised are going to say, use this app that connects to our server, and as long as it connects to their server, they can take that away at any given time. That is the direction that the world has been going in, and the unfortunate reality of this is companies are slowly starting to try to stick the tip in and see how much they can get away with without your consent. I discussed this in this video, Arlo cameras take the L with disposable junk, where I was going over the fact that this camera was advertising that you would get cloud storage that you could use to view certain events that would occur. So if some sort of event would occur on the camera, you could log in and check the cloud storage to see what was going on,
and they
no longer allowed you to do that unless you paid them a subscription, in spite of what it said on the marketing on the box of the effing product. What made it particularly disgusting here is that you could not change it over to use your own server. So if they didn't want to pay hosting for this anymore, for this expensive product, fine, you can't use the server that's in your closet because you're not allowed to adjust it. Funny how that works. And it looks like Ring is doing something very similar here. I'd like to read a customer email, I'd like to read an article that was going over this, and I would like to demonstrate what's actually going on in reality. Hi, Lewis. For your information, another nail in the coffins of you will own nothing and like it. My girlfriend woke up to her Ring alarm sounding due to her cats. She had the cameras turned off with the Ring app the night before. The app updated overnight, and now she must pay $10 per month to get back the ability to turn on and off the cameras from the app. She cannot recall getting any notification. I looked and there was an article on The Verge I found this morning that said it was going to happen. So the camera is now always on unless you remove the batteries, as we haven't figured out how to do it otherwise. So here we have the problem that stuff that we bought and paid for had its functionality taken away and held for ransom. I imagine this will be happening for other things as well. It is not just having to pay to activate hardware you already own, like car seat heaters, but they can also do bait and switch later. And this is a problem. Now, when you read the Verge article, it says on March 29th, all new users of the Ring alarm security system will have to pay for basic features. New users, but again, that is not the way this is working out in reality. This gentleman's girlfriend had the app update without allowing it to update, and now magically those features have disappeared for somebody who was already a user of the app, not a new user.
Matic is down to 87 cents,
and when you look at the Reddit thread that's associated with this, you will see many people saying something like this. They lied. I've had my system since 2020, and my app now says that I need to subscribe to keep using all the features.
8712.
Good job, Amazon. Good job.
8708.
And this demonstrates a fundamental point. If any product, if anything that you purchase that you think you own connects to a company's server, you do not actually own it. In fact, they own you. If the features and functionality are dependent on it connecting to an external server, and you cannot self-host or self-manage your own instance of that particular product, you do not own it. You have no rights over it, and they can turn it off and screw you at any given time. And they will get away with it because consumer protection in the United States is a laughing stock and a joke. Even when Biden gave the FTC broad carte blanche to be able to go after right to repair, they did literally nothing. And you can listen to more about that in this video that I will link down below, is FTC management demoralizing staff out of effective antitrust enforcement. These companies will not even get a slap on the wrist for doing this, much less actually get in trouble. So why not keep sticking the tip in? Why not keep pushing? Why not keep sticking the tip in and seeing how much you could abuse your customers if the government is not going to do anything?
Okay, dude, we got you. We got you. You're probably going to get in trouble for saying that on YouTube repeatedly. But okay. Anyhow, I hope you guys had fun. Nobody's talking, so I'm going to go. All right. Love you guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye, guys. I'll see you. Remember, I'm on Twitter all day, so come see me over there. We're going to be talking about whatever on Twitter. All right. Bye, guys. Nat's Garden on Twitter. Market's down. You should be looking at Matic right now. If you want to buy something, I would buy Matic at 87 cents.
Dave C. Fishing.
It'd definitely go up to $1.
Peace, bro.
Matic's definitely going to go up, but it's at 87 cents now. So there you go. There's your tip for the day. You're welcome. I'm way better than that Jim Cramer piece of shit. Bye, guys.